Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Chika Wonder. I am HIV positive and I've been living with HIV for 9 years. So I'm here to just tell you guys my story.
Welcome to the Honest Bunch podcast. Thank you so much for your support. We are super grateful. That previous episode, you don't see them. You don't say we pledge, say, now conversations when go they touch the right spots and change perceptions. Now we they carry come and we go continue to the give una those conversations. Information that can help you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to send money, 190 plus countries, over 40 denominations, ON Pay, now go run out for you. No need to send money, come they talk, say, I've sent it, I swear. Why you go to swear after you send money? Now because some of those people, when you send, the money go hang. But with ON Pay, it is smooth, it is seamless, no problems at all. Go the ON Pay way so that it will pay you. Ladies and gentlemen, your gadgets, your appliances, if you want to buy without tears, now see the care. You can see the care they show you. For example, they have a plan that allows you stay at home and you go they pay sumo. Now then go the market for you. At the midpoint of your payment, they go carry it and give you in perfect condition. Guess what? They will not add a single naira. Nothing like Shebi, I'm the one that went to the market for you. They no go add them. So see the care that they show you. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce our special guest, you know that it's the amazing quartet. But there is something special that I'd like to show you. Recently, stop it now. Thank you. It's okay. Thank you. So recently, I was named Best Male Podcaster of the Year at the 6th edition of the Eco Heritage Awards. I'm grateful to God Almighty. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm thankful to the organizers. I am grateful for my co-hosts, Daddy Freeze, Zini Posh, Titi, the amazing people behind the scene. Debo, Toby, Kels, Belumi, Mrs. Gift Israel, Mr. Best, and especially our viewers. You are the reason why every time we curate great content, and we are grateful that you support us. We have gone through, very difficult phases, but we're happy that through thick and thin, you're here with us. We hope that we would always see you on Mondays at 6 p.m. Something big is coming. Live show. Live show. Help me pass this and put it on our table. Yes, so that they will. No, give it to doctor. Don't stress yourself. Give it to just pass it. Please. Doctor. Pass it. It's okay. Oh yeah. Everybody should touch it. It's like cola nut. Exactly. So you can put it on the table. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us on this episode. Now, this special guest is spreading an important gospel, and he's using his personal experience so that you do not make a very, very fatal mistake. Make I not talk too much. Make I allow him introduce himself.
Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Chika Wonder. I am HIV positive and I've been living with HIV for 9 years. So I'm here to just tell you guys my story. All
right, thank you very much, Chika. A round of applause for Chika. Thank you so much, Chika. You are very brave, and we believe that with this episode, we will definitely reach out to everyone and get the message across. Now, Chika is joined alongside people we respect so much. It's not easy. If it's easy, go school, go try them now. Go try them. These are people where we say there's Sabi book. They read the book where, and the thing they show for their body. Joining us in the studio alongside Chika is Dr. Oluwaseun Akindasa. Dr. Oluwaseun Akindasa is the head of clinical services, clinics, healthcare. Doctor, you're welcome. Thank you so
very
much.
Thank you for having me.
And our favorite doctor, yes, our favorite doctor, a man who has dedicated his knowledge to spreading information that can help you. And I would also like to say, because in the spirit of congratulation, he's in sub-Saharan Africa. He's an ambassador, wellness ambassador for TikTok. Not be small doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Wale Ogunlano. A round of applause for Dr. Wale Ogunlano.
Thank you.
You're welcome, doctor. We could always start. We could just go straight into the conversation. And I think a very good place to begin would be with Chika. So, Chika, how did you contract HIV?
Okay, so that question might be a bit difficult to answer because nobody really knows how they contact HIV. You might think it's from one means, but then it might be from something else. But with the way I lived my life back then, right, I want to say that it was through unprotected intimacy with different people, because when I was very young, I was really reckless, right? I was having sex addiction, and then I was not disciplined when it comes to sex. So, I was the kind of guy that if I go to any state for the first time, right, the first thing I want to ask is the closest brothel. I want to ask for the closest brothel. I want to just sleep with, just anybody. And the truth is, I didn't even have spec. Like, if I can afford you, if you agree the price, I don't care if your head is somehow, I'll just still want to do whatever I wanted to do. So it was a problem. And, after having that kind of lifestyle, and plus the fact that I was also a photographer, right? So I was exposed to so many things. Do you understand? So yeah, reckless sex and all of that. That's what I think is 80% might be the reason how I got it.
All right. So you mentioned that you battled with sex addiction.
Yeah.
I would like for us to just dwell on that, because there are some people who might be dealing with such a situation. So let's go back to how you led your life at some point and looked at it and said, this my desire for sexual intimacy or sex, they be like the normal one. What was it like?
Okay, so like I said, I was so consumed into sex that if I did not have money to have sex with someone, the next thing I want to do was to touch myself. So masturbation was like an option, right? And when I knew it was a problem was when I could masturbate anywhere, like wherever I find myself, I could masturbate. When I mean wherever, I mean even inside the church. So I could be in a church.
No way.
Yes, I could be in a church right now, and let's say the person in front of me, a lady, is wearing like a tight skirt, and I can see her panty lines, and I would have an erection and excuse myself to the church toilet to touch myself. And so that is why I feel like churches are not really talking about masturbations very well, because even in church people get aroused. That's just the truth. During prayer times, you see some ladies will just bend down in church and then they are praying, but then there's a guy sitting at the back that might just be looking at the lady, and that's a very good position for what they call doggy or stuff like that. So it happens in churches. And so the reality is that I was that kind of person. And so, yeah, I was so addicted to it, and it took the grace of God to come out of it.
Now, you said any state you went to,
yeah,
you were tempted to have intercourse. Yeah. They use rubber.
Okay, so that's another thing. Discipline is what makes a lot of people use protection, right? I was not disciplined. So even before I got HIV and after I got HIV, it was a discipline thing. It wasn't like, I intentionally want to have sex with people to transmit HIV to them. It's just that I've always not been disciplined when it comes to protecting myself, right? I wanted to just feel the pleasure, and then I was careless about what the outcome may be.
Now, from brothel to brothel, did you not catch any warning STIs like chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis? Did you not, those small ones that say, make I begin to protect myself?
So I think at that point, I caught a lot of things. But then again, discipline, carelessness. I wasn't interested in going to the hospital to find out why I was experiencing things I was experiencing then, right? I was going to the pharmacy first. And see, that's the problem for a lot of young people. When you experience something, you go to the pharmacy instead of the hospital, right? The hospital is where you find out why you are experiencing a certain thing. Because when you go to a pharmacy and you tell them you have headache, they only give you something for headache. But why do you have the headache? So most times I was always going to all these chemists for quick fix, not to understand why I was experiencing whatever I was experiencing.
What were you experiencing? No, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Didn't you have a relationship?
Okay, so relationship wasn't my thing because I'm not a very courageous guy. I mean, if somebody had told me that I'll be talking right now like this, I'd really doubt the person because I didn't know how to talk to girls. And that's why paying for intimacy was, my option then. Maybe my only option then, actually. Then masturbation too.
I was going
So,
to ask, sorry, that what do you think was the root, not to justify the recklessness, what do you think was the root of it that made you live that type of life? Is it trauma? Is it ignorance?
So I think it's bad environment and bad parenting. So a lot of people do not understand how negative bad environment can actually affect your life, right? The only reason a man can escape the negative effect of bad environment is when you have good parenting. So, but if both of them are bad, you are gone, right? So for me, I would say I will not necessarily say I have bad parenting, but I would say my parents were careless. Very, very careless.
How?
And the environment where I grew up in a barracks, custom barracks, and everything goes on there. So you see children gather in one place, touching each other, and from there stuffs like that begin to build up in my mind. I can count how many times my elder brother caught me in, dark places with a girl. And instead of scolding me, he would do me like this.
Wow.
So those stuffs built up, and then from there.
So it's interesting that you have mentioned, your background and how in the barracks anything goes.
Yeah.
In all honesty, our barracks have a dangerous reputation
Yeah.
because there's law, supposedly, there's orderliness. And then you have children who look at these laws and decide, no, now, we'll go fit do anything to break them. I spent quite a number of years, on holidays with my uncle at Zone D, now Area D in Mushin area of Lagos. And there were complaints of people stealing goats, stealing chickens, and now children of people when they that place, now then they run. I just be like say they want bad, they want show say them bad, even though their parents now people when they sure say our laws we no break them. I would like to go back to how old you were, because for so many young people, sex is glamorized. It looks like you said your elder brother would do you a thumbs up sign. It's glamorized. It's how you show that you are a man, for example, or how you have come of age as a woman. Let's go back to your first sexual experience and also your age and how you think it contributed to that sex addiction.
Okay, so the first time I actually had like intimacy where I have to put my thing in a lady's thing was I think when I was 15, 16. So it was an older lady actually that actually, paid for a hotel room, right? So there's this place where
An older lady.
yeah,
How
yeah.
old was she?
I think she was 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was 22 as at that time.
What was your relationship with her like?
Okay, so because I've always, like I said, exposed to stuff like that, I saw her and, I liked how she was looking. So I was always close to her, right? So one time she was going to book a hotel for something and then she said I should come along. And then when I went, she asked me, do you want to go back home? I was like, no, it's too late. I can't go back home. And then I was there. So she, in my presence, she washed her panties and all of that. And then she asked me to come to the bed and, 1, 2, 1, 2, she touched me. And for the first time, I actually, had intimacy with someone.
Did you have any conversation with maybe another older person afterwards? Like maybe your parents, your older brother, or your friends? Did you relay that incident to anybody else?
No. What happened was that because I enjoyed it so much, the very next day was the first day I paid for sex. Yeah.
At 16?
Yes. And so the day I paid for sex was actually when I went for church. Because, see, this exposure is everywhere, not just the barracks. It's also in churches, right? Yeah. And I was attending Redeemed Church, right? And so we had this teenage all nights where we do rehearsals and stuff. So when I went there, I told some of my friends, like, this is what happened and stuff like that. Again, they glamorized it. And then
In church?
Yes, church. So so the parish where I was then in Abuja is close to a club. So the older guys took me to another club. Yeah.
The older guys in church.
In church, yes, older teenagers. And then we went to the church and, we went to the club and then I paid again. So that's the first time and that's how it all started. So I started looking for brothels where I
So
could
you
meet
were
girls.
introduced to brothels in church.
Yes,
Sorry,
exactly.
at
Yeah.
16, whose monies were you paying with? Did you have a job? Because
No,
you
I
paid and
didn't.
paid and paid again.
Yeah, I didn't have a job. So what I would do is, because I want to have sex, I'd go to school with my money, then not spend my break money,
Oh.
save it because of intimacy. So I was very good at saving money, but for the very wrong reasons.
So from age 16, if you do like a calculation, you go back and do like a calculation from age 16 when you had your first encounter, up until what point would you say maybe the first feeling of, I don't understand how my body
It's doing me.
is, I don't understand how I feel. It'd be like, say, maybe somehow my body they do me somehow.
I can't really tell, to be honest, because, for the fact that I enjoyed it, I didn't see it as something abnormal. Do you understand? The thing with a lot of young people is that when you come to the realization of what you are doing is abnormal, that is when change can start. As long as you enjoy it, you will still always want to do it. So the point where I felt like things had to change was just 3 years ago, right? Yes, where I had to okay, I need to stop this. I don't like what I'm doing
Wait,
anymore.
3 years
Sorry,
ago.
Sorry,
ago, yeah.
you mentioned
That's
that you were-
2023.
Sorry,
Yes,
you mentioned that
2023.
because you've mentioned you've been positive for over
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
I think it's
So it
9
didn't-
years.
For 9 years. 9
like
years.
you've known,
Yes.
yes. And
Yeah.
didn't discipline just stopped 3 years ago?
Yes, that's
Which means-
that's why I said that, sometimes a person can be positive and still be reckless with sex, not with the intention of transmitting, because at the end of the day, they've been this indiscipline installed in that person. Do you understand? So when you have a positive mind shift is when things start to change for you.
Now, did any woman, don't women insist? Because I believe if someone wants to sleep with you until you've done all the necessary checks, which you are not even 100% sure of, at least you demand some level of protection. Don't the women, at least while you were still being reckless, quote and unquote, didn't they demand protection?
Okay, you see, the power of demanding for protection as a woman is usually lost when you are paid for intimacy. Do you understand? Because if you are someone I asked out properly and you're in a relationship with me, if you tell me that you don't want to condoms, I can only beg. I cannot insist. I can suggest it to you. And if I really want it and you said, okay, to have this, you have to use condom, then I would want to use. But if I'm paying you, it's more like the most I can just do is I'll add more money. How about that? And most girls will say yes. And you see, that time...
Has any prostitute ever refused you and said, no, without condom, no?
Very few.
Oh, wow.
Very, very few. Very few. Extremely few.
Okay. How did you find, because I feel like you're taking me where I don't know. How did you find out that you are positive?
Okay, that's a very good question. Now, HIV reacts differently for different people, right? You can have HIV now and not see symptoms. And then you can have 3 people who actually experience symptoms, experience different things. That's why I always tell people that don't just conclude you have HIV by what you're experiencing, right? Because there are other sexual infections that can actually give you the symptoms that HIV could give. So don't just conclude. The only way to conclude you have HIV is through testing. So I was experiencing series of symptoms before I checked. And then there were 7 main symptoms I was experiencing. I was experiencing diarrhea. I was experiencing fever. I was experiencing night sweat, pneumonia, fatigue, weight loss, and acute headache. These are like the 7 things I was experiencing. And, like I said, I was always going to the hospital and, always going to the pharmacy for quick fix, right? But when I, had a total breakdown was when I was still working with a magazine agency here in Lagos, because I found out in Lagos, right? And so I was so sick and everybody was scared. And they were like, Chika, you need to check yourself. Because every week I was falling sick, every week. So and I had to go to the hospital and I found out that I had HIV. So it wasn't...
Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised. So before I found out I had HIV, I had this character that I used to have before, I'll still call it, an environment provoked character, right? Especially from my own home, actually. So I was always telling lies that I had different stuffs in order to get money from people. I was always telling lies. I could just come here right now and formulate a very sweet lie that everybody will feel pity for me, right? And most times I was actually saying I had things I did not have. And this again shows that there's power in your mouth. And everything you say to yourself, it will eventually come true. So you have to be careful what you say just because you want to get things from people. So I was always saying I had HIV. Right? I would go to people and I would tell them that I have HIV. I would tell them I had this, I had that. Most of the things that happened to me eventually were things I once lied about. Do you understand? There are things I once lied about. And for me, it's a relief to talk about them right now because I have power over them right now and I'm not that person anymore. And it just took the grace of God. So I was even going to churches. I would go to churches, I would climb their altar, I would tell them that I have HIV. Right? And then you see, before I come down from the church, you see people, hey, sorry, young boy. Before I leave that church, I'll get like 50K. So it was more like what I was now doing to bring money to the house.
This was before you went for a test.
This was way back. Like we're talking about 17 years ago, 18 years ago, because at my age then I had to bring things to the house. So yeah. So these were things that I was doing. And a lot of people still do this till today. You can't go to the church and formulate. You have things you don't have because you want money. Be honest with yourself because at the end of the day, God sees you, right? And you can't climb the altar and say things that you do not have. I've done it before. I know a lot of people do it and it's not a good thing. Because at the end of the day, there are people who are even living more recklessly than I am living right now, right? But then they don't call negativity upon themselves. So that is another thing that, young people should actually stop.
So I have a question for you, Doctor. How common is HIV in Africa right now?
Hey.
Well, I would say that Africa has one of the highest burdens of HIV in the world. And it's quite common. Even here in Nigeria as well. In fact,
Lagos.
There are two types of HIV that is known. There's the HIV 1 and 2. HIV 1 is usually the global one and is the most common. But HIV 2 is common in West Africa. But HIV 2 is not as infectious or having as much dangerous symptoms as HIV 1, but then it's almost one and the same thing. It's just a little bit of differences between the disease itself, the disease condition itself. But then HIV is quite common. In countries like Nigeria, we have over 200 million people. So we do have quite a heavy.
What is the
burden.
percentage?
Off the top of my head, I won't be able to give the numbers and the figures right now. But I would say it's substantial. It's substantial enough to be classified as an emergency. So as something that needs to be addressed. So which is why it's very important that people are well aware and educated about it. But then there's also another funny part that really maybe doesn't get well talked about. There are some people, just a few set of people that are HIV resistant. So yeah, there are some people
Do
that
we
cannot
have them
have
in
HIV.
Nigeria?
In Lagos.
I know in Europe because
In
of
Europe,
the black plague.
Yeah, but yes, because there's a receptor, there's a particular receptor that is needed for the HIV virus to enter into the cell, replicate, and cause problems. So in some people, that receptor doesn't exist. So HIV, they can't just get infected.
So
right?
the people that don't have or have the receptor or don't have the receptor?
Yeah,
they don't have the receptor.
Yeah,
right?
they don't have the receptor.
The people that don't have the receptor.
Yes.
Can someone actually test to know that, I don't have the
No,
receptor,
you
so I can
can't-
go
you
wild and
Nope.
free?
First of all, you have to be of European descent.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Because what happened is the black plague could not affect them. So it killed everybody else except
Except
them.
them.
So they're able to reproduce and pass on
You
the
were
genes.
saying you were going somewhere.
yes. So there are some people like there is that to just look at, and we are just having conversations around HIV. But then the burden in Africa is quite high, and that is the reason why countries like Nigeria, South Africa, usually rely heavily on aid and support from even developed nations of the world for the management and the treatment of HIV. HIV has no cure. But then it's gotten to a point whereby if you treat yourself properly, if you use your medications, you can reduce your viral load, improve your immunity to such a point that you cannot transmit the disease anymore. So yes, so that's a fact. There are people, HIV positive individuals, you will be HIV positive, but you'll be unable to transmit the disease, like literally zero risk.
Because, you said there's no cure, right?
Yes, there isn't.
I have 2 questions, but let me ask Dr. One. I was somewhere and somebody said something. The person said, oh, if you have unprotected sex, there's a drug now that you just take. And even if the person has the person is positive, you're not going to get it. Is it a myth? Is it real? Are people taking these drugs?
It is actually true that there's something. It's called post-exposure prophylaxis. And usually you save it more for healthcare workers because of things like accidental needle pricks and all. But if someone should be raped or accidentally get exposed, you can have a post-exposure prophylaxis, which is a drug that is taken for 30 days. The person will take it. At the start of the medication, you do the viral screenings, the HIV, hepatitis B and C. Then afterwards, you check again. At the end of the 30 days, you check again, then you check again 6 months later to know whether the person. So yes, there's a way that can be done, but you usually save it. That's not an excuse to live recklessly.
Are they casually sold? Because it looks as if, like, for someone to casually say that, looks as if like people buy them over the counter now and just have it by their bedside.
There was something I was reading one day.
I'm not landed. Because it looks like, right, people just buy it over the counter and just put it by their bedside. Once they just jack off, they put it in their mouth. Is it casually sold or is it pressed? Is it high? Like, do you get what I mean?
Usually, we get from government hospitals, private hospitals, and before the government hospital, private hospital can even release PEP for you, you have to present negative HIV test results. After you have presented the result, that is when it is sold. Now, I don't know if some pharmacies are doing it behind the scene. Do you understand? Maybe off records and all. But usually, you need to go to the hospital with a negative result, say that you were exposed before they give it to you. So, and then the medication, let me just explain that the medication has a lot of side effects also.
Yep.
So it's not like multivitamins that you take.
Like you can just pop.
No. For some people, it could affect their sleep. For some, it could give them persistent nausea. For some, it could give GI disturbance. It could just give them abdominal pain. So the side effects alone is a lot, and it is not worth it. To casually have casual sex and then go for PEP, it's not worth it.
What I wanted to ask, hold on, is this very important. I saw a tweet where someone said, if you are still worried about HIV in 2026, you don't know the update. There is a belief among the young people in 2026 that HIV is no longer the problem it once was. It is no longer the killer disease. And with that, if you go there and say use protection, they'll say protection is not sweet. So I want the two of you to use this medium to please let the young people watching us know that HIV is still what it was, but it is more manageable.
Okay, so all right, so
you disagree?
Yes, very well.
No. But hold on, let the doctors react first.
So I'm going to put it like this. Indeed, right? HIV, the management of there has been very serious progress in the treatment and management of HIV as of today. In fact, it's no more a burden as it used to be because of the new management that implants, and then the fact that highly active antiretroviral therapy really is very effective and it helps. But then you also have to remember that this is an extra burden on you as a person, that if you're going to be managing this, you need to, there's an adage where you say, if you want to build a house, you need to sit down and first count the cost. You need to ask yourself that if you want to live a reckless lifestyle, are you ready to take medications as regularly as possible? Yes, we know that lenacapavir is available now, that you can take it once for a couple of months. But then you still have to ask yourself that you need to ensure that you're running tests, at least the minimum is 6 months, to check to see if you need to check for your viral load, you need to check for your CD4 count. There are a lot of things that are involved, and I'm sure that he will also like share those things with me. There are responsibilities. HIV in itself brings, the condition in itself also brings some responsibilities down your neck. And if you're somebody who can be reckless, I mean, how disciplined will you be to manage yourself properly to ensure that you are not transmitting the disease to other people? So it's a frank conversation that one needs to have with self before you now say, I want to live a reckless life. Because most times when people make that decision to live a reckless life, it is not a conscious decision. They make it because of pressure. They make it because they feel that it's the rave of the moment. But they don't really sit down and count the cost that, what if this happens to me? What will I do then? What if this happens to me? What will I do then? And that is why you see that many people, when they finally now discover that they become they are HIV positive, they get infected with HIV, many of them can't bear the mental burden that comes with it.
True.
They break down, they become more reckless. So it now creates the entire, depression, and it creates a vicious cycle. And it's that vicious cycle that now makes the person break down, leads to AIDS, because the person is not, it becomes decompensated. So when HIV is not well properly managed, right, it begins to develop certain complications. That certain complications is what is known as acquired immune deficiency syndrome or AIDS. So that's when the person now starts having opportunistic infections. Every small sneeze can become serious admission. Any single time, just like he mentioned in his story, he's having diarrhea. So like every single thing makes him infected. So like you can make them infected. So it's a very important conversation that one needs to have with themselves, that if this is going to be happening, like if I want to live a reckless life, am I going to be responsible enough to treat myself if and when this happens?
You were saying that you disagree with what I was asking the doctor.
Okay, so the thing is, first of all, HIV is not a disease. HIV is a virus, right? It's a virus that if you're not on treatment, and the treatment is very powerful. I have it.
Can we see?
Yes. So this is HIV ARVs, antiretrovirals, and this is also
Sorry,
PrEP.
let's see. Show it to the camera. If you go to somebody's house and you see this thing there, be careful as you knock them.
Now I have to talk about
most of them put it in multivitamin bottles.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please go ahead, brother.
So now this is the thing. HIV is not a disease, it's a virus. And when you have HIV and you start your medication, what you do is that you stop it from becoming a disease. Right? Now, the problem is that it is the way we have been introduced. HIV was introduced to us that we still see it. It is no longer like that because this medication is very, very powerful. So once you start this medication, you stop HIV from replicating. And then he said something very valuable. He said that it will get to a point where you cannot transmit it to another person. It's called the undetectable state. And I'm there right now, yeah?
Oh,
so if you're taking, thank you. So when you're taking this medication consistently over a period of time, for some people it's 6 months, for some people it's 1 year, over a period of time, you become undetectable, right? Meaning that you cannot transmit HIV to another person. Not saying that you should stop the medication, you have to continue it. Now, you see, when you see this medication in someone's house, right, you don't immediately conclude the person have HIV. She said something about PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis. This is PEP. This is what sometimes they administer to you as PEP. So there are people who have this in their houses because, like you said, they are just having it so that if they have unprotected intimacy, they will have to take this, right? But it's not also very advisable. That's why when you go to hospitals, they don't give you a full can so that you don't become reckless because of that, right? So this PEP right now, the way to take it is after you've had intimacy with someone who is HIV positive, right? You have to start this within 72 hours. That's 3 days. And then you have to take it for the next 28 days. And now you have to take it at a particular time. So if you start 6 p.m., throughout the 28 days, you have to take it 6 p.m. If you start 7 p.m., throughout the 28 days, you have to, take it 7 p.m. The reason why it is very important to be timely with this medication is that it stops HIV from replicating. HIV replicates in our body every 24 hours, right? So by the time you take it at a particular time, you just stop it from, replicating. And then you begin to now suppress the virus. Do you understand? So you suppress it to the point where, it's no longer something you can transmit. And then lastly, I also want to point out something. Not everyone who got HIV got it from being reckless. There are other forms of getting HIV. It's very important to point that, because, there are people who were given birth to with HIV. There are people who got HIV from blood transfusion. So if you go to the hospital and you require blood transfusion, you have to make sure that the blood is properly screened, because it could be affected, right? There are people who got HIV through, sharp objects like syringe among the medical ward, and then, clipper. Now, it's not so easy to get HIV from clipper, because HIV cannot, stay 30 seconds outside of a human body, outside of a host. HIV cannot stay 30 seconds. But if you are someone who barbs your hair, the way I know that you can get HIV is, when you're carving. If you watch my hair now, you can see like lines, right, of like injuries, small cuts and stuff. When you're carving, sometimes your barber puts powder on his palm, and then you use his clipper to touch his palm and then touch your head. They carve you like that. I know the palm is very hard, but there are times where if you do that consistently in one spot, you could actually bleed yourself. And then they now carve you, right? Sometimes we sustain micro cuts and injuries without feeling it, right? Until they put that spray, that aftershave. That's when So that way, because it's happening immediately, there's a possibility for you to get HIV through that. Because it's happening, they are just doing like this and putting it on your head. So that's why it's very important that, if you go to a barbing salon, instead of the powder putting it from his palm, right, let him put it on a plate and then carve you properly. Do you understand? Because it's not even about you getting HIV from the barber. The barber can get it from you, like me. Do you understand? So a barber who is careless could actually endanger themselves. So that's about, barbing salon. Then syringe, you just have to be more careful as a doctor and stuff like that. And then another way you can get HIV is through accidents. That's why if you see, like, if someone have an accident right now, they'll administer PEP on the person. They'll tell you to take PEP, because there's a possibility that there's been a blood-to-blood contact. Do you understand? That's how you can get HIV. And HIV is closer to every single person in this house than we think. That's just the truth. HIV is closer to you, that the phrase is closer to you, husband material. And the way it is that, we're either affected or infected. I might be the only person infected here, but everybody is affected. Because at the end of the day, there's somebody close to you that is living with HIV that you don't know yet. That's because they don't know themselves, or you don't even know that they have it. So that's why protecting yourself should be your own priority. Very, very important. Do you understand? So HIV is very close to us. And this is another thing I think is that the statistics in the amount of people that are said to live with HIV is not the correct amount. I think so, because of the fact that, I have come to realize a lot of things. Number one, right? There are people who are living with HIV. They know that they're living with HIV, right? But they are not taking medications from any hospital, right? The statistics that they have now is based on the people who have gone for tests and are taking medication from hospitals. That's how they get their record. So how about those who those who found out that they have HIV, but they are not getting their medication from any hospital? They are not there. There are people who are living with HIV right now, they don't even know yet. And it's going to take a number of years for them to find out. Do you understand? So it is very, very important that we put this in our consciousness. And, when it comes to Lagos, if you are in Lagos right now, right, and since the beginning of 2026, you have not done HIV test, and you have slept with someone without protection, and you don't know the person's HIV status, then there's a probability that you might be positive already. Do you understand?
While you were speaking, something came to me.
Are you scared?
You didn't know.
No, I'm laughing at
While-
the reaction.
While you had it, you didn't know about it.
Yes.
And you were, sleeping with people without any protection. And when you came out, because, right now, you're like, everybody knows, most of the people that know you, maybe you might have also had intimacy with them. Did any one of them ever try to, write you or reach out to you to say, I had this with you, or, did you have like maybe a blast from the past?
Okay, so I think because of me, a lot of people started running to do their test, but nobody actually came, or no one has actually ever called me to say that they got HIV from me. Maybe because they are scared that I'm vocal, I could talk about them, which I will never do, right? Or there are people who went for the test and came out and they are still negative. I mean, there was a lady that was with me and we're having intimacy for a very long period of time. She even got pregnant. It was a choice to, I don't have a child. It was a choice to, not have the baby, right? But till now, she's still negative, right? And there are people who I had intimacy with without protection. And just like he said, some people are resistant. So maybe the people I had intimacy with without protection are, and also the truth is, there's also something called reinfection. So because there are two strains of HIV, like you said, right? So the HIV inside of me might be different from the HIV inside of you. Like, not you.
That's okay.
Do you understand? So if I have intimacy with you without protection, and let's say I'm not undetectable and you're not undetectable too, and you're not consistent on your medication, both of us are defaulting, we could have an exchange of, do you understand? I can get reinfected. That's why I tell people that if you have HIV and you have the intention of transmitting it to other people, you are more at risk than those people you think you are putting at risk. Do you understand?
Shed more light on that.
Okay, so there are other things that is even more severe than HIV, like hepatitis B, herpes, and all of those things. So if you have HIV now, you are now saying, my duty is to infect a lot of people. You're not the only person living with HIV, and there are other things that anybody could have. So if you go and say, you might go with the intention of wanting to infect someone with HIV, and first of all, you might not even infect the person because it's not easy to contract HIV, just so you know. It's not even easy. So you can go with the intention of infecting someone and come back with hepatitis B or herpes or human papilloma virus. And at that time, you're doing yourself more harm, because if you have two viral disease, it's called co-infection, right? So that's just it. So all of these things I got to find out from research. So yeah.
There's something you said, and I want the doctors to put mouth. And I'm going to start with the lady doctor. HIV is known to be a very weak virus. Baba transmission, toothbrush transmission.
Mother to child.
Mother to child is more. But you see, all those other eating from the same plate,
kissing,
is very.
No,
it's
hardly
not
so.
Hardly so. It is mostly through blood to blood,
mother to child, yes.
Blood transfusion, sex,
sharp objects, sharing sharp objects, needles. There was something he mentioned that I think that we should focus a lot on females too. When we fix nails, when you're doing the sewing weave on, so you need to insist on a new needle. You either go there with your own, the corticals,
pedicure,
a lot of
tattoo.
Tattoo instrument. That is why if anyone has a tattoo, you cannot donate blood. They will tell you that you cannot donate blood because of things that could happen months afterwards. They may test you, in the window period is not showing, but months down the line, the person could be positive to either HIV or any of the hepatitis viruses.
After a year, Uncle.
So after a year,
you're going to keep your blood for a year.
Most likely,
if you are not positive and you have a tattoo. Yes, if it's been a year after your tattoo.
Because my gym the other time, people blood, but there was a HIV desk by the side.
They need to do
so
that
you would
before.
go check. But I saw a lot of people that had tattoos like myself, and they were donating blood. So.
Now, still on the topic, I want us to talk about sex. There is one particular type of sex that is more prevalent in the transmission of HIV. And that is male
anal
to
sex.
male homosexual sex or anal sex.
Yes.
I also want you to throw light on the fact that it is easier for a woman to catch HIV because of the mucous membrane of her vagina as compared to the tip of the man's phallus, which is the only mucous membrane in the man. So I want you to explain to people that having unprotected sex gets more dangerous if you have it in certain ways. Please, Dr. Ogunlano.
Okay. So regarding the male to male transmission, of course, it's during anal sex, and because of the fact that a lot of microbruises occur during that act, that of course when the semen or blood, when there is an exchange, easily increases the risk of contracting HIV. So in Nigeria, I was just able to check and get it that we have about close to 1.9 million people that are currently living with HIV right now. And the burden, 60% of that burden is with women. And the reason is quite simple because, of course, the woman's vaginal membrane is such that it can easily absorb this, like it can easily absorb viruses, anything, and then from there it enters into the bloodstream, and from the bloodstream, of course, it becomes an infection. But then another very important part again that we try to miss out is viral load. So most times the reason why there is easy transmission, man to man, is because of the high viral load. So most times when these men, number one, they will not check. They know they probably have it. They are too egotistic to check, to be sure that I know I have this thing I bought. I don't want to, and they continue in that act. Now, and when they say, okay, you now have, men, MSM, men having sex with men, and then they start transmitting it. That is why it is easier for men to transmit, because most time men are not one. They are, in my own practice of over 14 years, men they are the most difficult people to tell to come for tests. You would easily see a woman. Despite the fact that women have the higher burden of this disease, it is easier for them to know that they are HIV positive on time than for a man. And that is why you will see that, of course, it is more effective transmitting, the virus as an infection when it's man to man than otherwise. But then the burden of HIV rests more with the women than with the men. In fact, said that it is, the male population that keeps putting that burden on the women over time. It's hardly do you see the reverse like we are seeing in his story. It happens, but then that also depends on a lot of things. High viral load, your immune system at the time being, a lot of things that interplay around that same time before you can say you get infected.
And in addition to that, there are also so many blood vessels around the anus. It's highly vascularized. That is why
more vascularized than the
vagina. That's why even when you are pooing and it's very hard, as you can bleed. It's really, really vascularized. So any small friction is easy to
always very positive. And the anus as itself is not an elastic organ like the vagina. So it cannot be. I see your gross face,
but
it's
not. It's hard for me.
It's not. It's not as elastic and flexible as the vaginal canal. So that automatically means that the tendency for bruising
would be.
And of course, men having sex with men, it's rougher.
I need the camera on me before you ask any question. Can I have the camera on me? Which camera am I facing on? No. I want to talk now. See, there's a problem we have in this Nigeria, and it's called hypocrisy. Women want to remain virgins till they marry, so they have anal sex. Oh yes. I've had so many stories.
He's cooking. He needs to
let me
cook. Let him cook.
You have heard from some of the best doctors we have in this country. Anal sex predisposes you more to HIV than any other type of sex. Please, women, it is not okay for you to be a virgin and have HIV from sex. It will be confusing the thunder. Men too, when I don't hear them. Please ask your question.
I have a question for you. You said you're at the point where you can't transmit. So have you had intimacy unprotected and
Oh yes, definitely.
Are you in a relationship, first of all?
I was, but see, relationship is really hard for people living with HIV, right?
Tell me about it.
It's extremely hard, extremely hard. And as someone who's vocal about it, it is worse for me, right? So the thing is, women are even more considerate. A woman can decide to be with a man that's living with HIV and undetectable if the man can provide security, provision, and all of those things. But for men are usually harder to, want to be with a woman living with HIV. And, I was in a relationship and we said it was going to be private, but I got to discover that the person I was with, right, was now hiding me. And you see, anything hidden is easily discarded. So, and I didn't want that. I was not, okay with that. And so we had too many issues. So one day I was in her house and I made a video and her best friend saw it. And, her best friend was like, you can never date this guy. So this is the guy you're telling me about. No. He's look at all the things he has said online about himself. Everybody knows HIV. How about your kids, and all of those things. And immediately I heard her voice note because I was with her when she played it. I looked at her eyes and I knew that this was not going to work, right? I knew it was not going to work. So that was when I decided to start my own matchmaking platform. Connecting people living with HIV. So that's what I do right now. So, and, I connect people living with HIV, to meet each other and find love, and it's been going on well. By the grace of God, I started November and I've recorded 7 weddings. And everything is,
that's impressive.
I've recorded 7 weddings, people are in serious relationship. Although I still have to take my time to help people through therapy sections, because a lot of men living with HIV are bisexuals. So most of them are gays, so they have to be with a woman to cover up that they are gay. So they end up doing both genders, right? So if I bring 100 men living with HIV, if I bring 100 men living with HIV right here, 75 have probability of being bisexual. I am not bisexual. You people have heard my story. You know what brought me to this place.
It's okay.
So I still have a lot of men who ask me out to today, but I keep on saying that I am not bisexual. So
you never said yes.
I've never, ever. So yeah, so the matchmaking platform is just what I'm doing right now, and it's working because since I came out to publicly say I have HIV, I'm a very good photographer and makeup artist, but I've been unable to work. So matchmaking platform is what keeps me busy, and it's been going on well.
You guys, photography does not transmit HIV.
I think it's a very important time for us to still have a conversation regarding the
stigmatization.
The stigma is
is actually quite high. And it's something that we really do need to address because, first of all, it's not all because of a reckless sexual lifestyle, like his story, that makes you contract HIV.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they get born with it. Your mother was HIV positive, and maybe as at that time, there was not enough highly active antiretroviral therapy because HRT, that heart therapy, just became really serious maybe a couple of decades ago now, maybe 1.5, 2 decades now. So you can't really say or put the blame just on the victim, right? Mm-hmm. There are people who have massive blood transfusions. Maybe they were in an accident, they were in a low resource setting, and because of the fact that they were in a low resource setting, they needed blood. So the person that was the next available person that was there to donate blood had to donate blood for them, HIV positive, all giving in. We've seen cases like that. We've seen health workers, right? And I think it was a raving conversation at a time where even medical doctors did not have enough money to afford their own PrEP, because doctors still need to buy their own PrEP. Like literally, the hospital, if you get exposed to an HIV positive patient, it is still you, the doctor.
The stigma is your duty,
on you,
right? So this affects the stigma, but it's important for us to let people know that, first of all, you cannot transmit it. Like, he is a photographer. He doesn't by handshake, please.
Exactly, because I was about to say people understand.
There is
I've been tapping him several times.
There is you can't transmit it via handshakes, via hugs, via kisses. You can't do that. It's not transmitted through saliva.
Or sharing cutlery.
It's not. I would even say it, and I would even put it that if you say, to pick, doctor, which one would you not advise a patient to have between hepatitis B and HIV? I'll say don't have hepatitis B. Literally.
Yeah.
With the current management.
Yes.
No, with the current management as of today. Between HIV and hepatitis, if you have hepatitis B, I'm very sorry. The chances of liver failure, the prognosis, it's not really looking quite good. And guess what? Hepatitis B is very, very, very easy to transmit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweat.
It's literally
No,
not
the
even
virus. The
no,
virus can be active
for
2 weeks,
It can
14
stay.
days, and
it
it is active.
has patience.
Even if you clean with methylated
Even if
spirits, it's still
it's
active.
still there.
But if you use something like hypochlorite, the bleach and
Only
something
bleach
stronger,
can clean
but
it.
with spirits, you just do
It will
this.
still be there.
It's there. It's
It can
alive.
So
still be
spirit
there.
doesn't kill it.
No, sir.
No, that is why you can see people come down more with hepatitis B than
It's commoner.
It's
Okay,
commoner.
this
You
is
know,
commoner.
commoner.
there-
It's
honestly,
commoner
there's
than
something,
HIV
there's something
these
that got
days.
to me now as you people were talking. Is there a stigmatization internally among? Wait, let me land. A stigmatization internally amongst
People living
living with HIV, because you
Exactly.
said you're at that point. I would also refer that, I mean, you could, have intimacy with somebody and the person doesn't. Now, within the community of
Yes.
people that have HIV, are there like the privileged ones and the ones that just started? Then the privileged ones like you are now saying, no, I'm not going to intimate with this person that's still.
That's a very interesting.
Yes, that's true. But before I even answer your question, I wanted to say something about stigma.
Okay.
You see, people are battling more with stigma than with the virus.
Chai.
Because with the virus, let me tell you how you start winning over HIV. It's very simple. So I need like 4 seconds. You just
So you took it by 2:27 in case you want to repeat that tomorrow, like you gave us orientation.
that's all. You're still winning against HIV once you start your medication. And then you need to take a lot of water. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
And monitor your liver function as
Yeah.
well. Periodical liver function
LFTs can
test.
be
So this
yearly.
is the first way, and this is, the appropriate way to battle HIV, not through herbal or whatsoever. So when you start taking your medication,
This herbal, I want to hear.
Let him answer my question.
No,
Let him answer my
so
question,
now
please.
once you start, your medication, you're stead, dealing with it. Now about stigma, you see,
Internal stigma. I
yes,
mean.
internal stigma. Let's even say, before you even say among the community, the stigma within yourself, because there's something called internalized stigma. You see, when anybody here stigmatize me, I could close my ears and refuse myself from hearing whatever you're saying. But when you're stigmatizing yourself internally, you don't even have to speak to hear yourself. And so that is why you have to deal with yourself, with your consciousness. Because with a lot of people, they're still going through stigma, and there's something called denial, the denial stage. Where you tell yourself that you are too cool to have HIV, you are too fresh to have HIV, when you start to believe that HIV is a form of punishment from God to you because of your lifestyle. See, no one is deserving of HIV. Do you understand? So people are battling with stigma. Because for the virus itself, like I said, you start conquering when you start taking your medication, right? Now, among the community, I even talked about it today, right? The people who were given birth to with HIV feels like they don't deserve it, or feels like they were intentionally punished by God. I've heard a lot of people who comes to me for counseling, because I also offer counseling and I also do addiction recovery for a lot of people, right? So I see people who feel like, I was given birth with it, I did not even do anything to deserve it. Or there are people who were even raped. So people were raped and they got HIV. Imagine a virgin who was raped and then got HIV and got pregnant. That's like crazy things happening to one person.
Voila.
Do you understand? So there are people like that. There are people who were faithful in their relationship and their partners went to cheat and all of that. So this set of people now feels like they don't deserve it. They were conscious about how they were living their life. So what happened? And there's the nurse, the doctor, who was just trying to help a patient, who was trying to help his client and then got HIV from that because he was showing care. So those people, those set of people feel like they don't deserve it, right? So people like me who was reckless, we deserve it and all of that. But you see, no one deserves it. Both me who was reckless, you who was giving birth to it, you who got it from blood transfusion and all of that. No one is deserving of any disease. So the truth is we need to love ourselves within the community. And I see that a lot and it's not a good thing, right? You see, and another discrimination that happens within the community is towards single mothers. Do you understand? Single mothers. And in my matchmaking platform, I get a lot of that. You show a man, a lady that is beautiful and all of that. And the first thing is, why is she dressing like this? Maybe she got it through prostitution. There's this judgment that comes with how a lady looks, the judgment that comes with the fact that a lady is, a single mother. And, I try to do live sections to teach people about these things, that anyone can get it from any way. And there are ladies, a lot of women even got to discover that they're HIV positive when they got pregnant. That is why if you're pregnant and you go for antenatal, the first thing they have to do is do HIV test for you, right? So that's just it. And another thing is this,
Wait, so you said that a man that is living with HIV is saying that because another person living with HIV
is a
single mom or is dressed in some type of way, then he, in his head, is now judging her that she must have gotten what he has from prostitution.
Yeah, what we need to understand
Make that make
also,
sense to me.
what we need to also understand is this is psychology at play and human nature at play. It is nature of man to be judgmental of the other person. Oh, my car looks better than this other person. Oh, why is this person driving a better car than myself? So he's doing something, he's into this. It is the nature of human to be judgmental, whether they are going through the same thing you're going through or not.
And they make excuse for themselves.
And of course, there's a probable excuse for why I'm doing it. And then you have no reason why it should be happening to you. But that is why the management, the treatment of and guidelines when it comes to managing HIV is universal. It has nothing to do with where you came from, your background, who you are, your sexual orientation, your religion or anything. It is only about the fact that you have a right to live a moderate and honorable life regardless of what your past was. So, and I think that's the most important takeaway message when it comes to the management and, living with, a condition like HIV.
All right, so Dr. Akindasa,
in your line of work, something that is still confusing me, please. I need clarity. In this HIV community, people like him, who I would say would be intimate with somebody that is free from HIV and not infect the person, when they want to now be intimate with people who are actively like having the HIV, do they protect themselves against the people?
No, this is the thing. That's a very good question, Ma. So I am undetectable, right? I'm undetectable. And if I find a lady that I like that is not undetectable yet, but she's HIV positive, right? The first question I'm going to ask is, how long have you been on your medication, right? Because apart from being undetectable, there's something called viral suppression. So if she has been on her medication for over, let's say 3 months, 4 months, she's virally suppressed, I could have intimacy with her without protection, right? But if she just starts her medication, right, I have to protect myself. So I'll use protection, right? So even among the community, you still don't have to be reckless, because then again, even if you're undetectable and I'm undetectable, and you have chlamydia, would I still want to have intimacy with you without protection? No, I would use protection.
And there are a lot of opportunistic infections that go with HIV.
Yes, so that's why it's very, very important. And you see, if you're tested positive for HIV right now, one test is not enough. You have to do like 3, because there's something called false positive. And that is where a lot of these false positive, and that is where a lot of people get it wrong. And that's why people go to churches, they run to churches, and then they say they have HIV, and then they pray for you, and then you go and do the test again, and because the first time it was false positive, it's not like you had it, so you now feel like the prayer worked because they prayed for you.
Hallelujah, somebody.
So what do you think is responsible for a false positive result?
Is the kind of test kit. If a test, test kits,
there's something called the screening test kits.
Yeah.
So for basic HIV tests, they use these there are different available test kits that can be used. But the standard practice is, if you have tested with one, you're getting a positive result, you check with another brand, and then you can go ahead and do the ELISA, which is what we do in clinics. You go ahead and do the ELISA before you now release the results as possible. That way, you are sure that you're not giving a false positive. But if it doesn't cross those processes, then it could be a false positive.
Chika, have you had any experience with maybe somebody who had a false positive results.
Yeah.
And then out of desperation, maybe they come to you, they are crying, and then they do it again, and it's no longer. Have you had such experience?
A lot of times. So now there's this experience where one girl just sent me a message on TikTok, and one just even did it just now when I was sitting down with you upstairs. Just sent me a message that she wants to die, and I'm like, calm down first, I'll call you back. So there's this experience where someone sent me a message, oh Chika, I want to die, I just found out I have HIV, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, when did you do the test? I did it just now. How many times? One time. Hold on. Have you gone to the lab? No. I want to kill myself. I said, hold on. And then I told her, go to a lab and do it again. When she went to the lab, she did it 2 times and it was negative. And I told her, calm down, let me see what you did. And I now saw that she didn't even place her, she did the
it was self one.
Exactly. So she didn't even do it well. And then it's in now. And she left it and went out to do, I think she went to her room to do something. So it stayed over time, right? And then she now saw positive, and she was almost going to kill herself or something like that, you know, and it's a problem. And then I really want to say this about, you know, I just mentioned something now that a person can have false positive with this kind of panic, will go to a church, do you understand, and tell a pastor that, oh, I just found out I have HIV, right? And then the pastor will say, you don't have it, lakayabo, shikayaba, and then the person comes and go and check and find out that, you know, it is negative, and feels like it is the Holy Spirit that took it away, not knowing that it was a mistake that was not properly checked. And I've seen situations where people were, you know, someone was on her medication. Imagine me being on my medication for 6 months, and then one day the pastor in the church calls out and say, if you have HIV, come outside. And then you go outside. And then after that, you go and check yourself. Because sometimes when you're undetectable, if you use some test kits, it will come out negative. So imagine you now go, you have been on your medication since, so you're already undetectable and you don't even know because you have not even done viral load test. And then you go to the church, the pastor prays for you, you go back, you do the test, it comes out negative, and you think the HIV has gone, and then you stop your medication. That's really dangerous. And that's why I've always asked this question. I want to see one person that a pastor healed of HIV 10 years ago that is still negative till now. Or someone who used all these their herbals that was positive. You are sure you are positive. Like you used herbal 10 years ago until now. You are still like negative. I want to see one person. No one has come out.
I love this part.
Chika, while I believe in not being reckless, I believe that if you're positive, you should take your medication. We cannot completely take away the fact that God can still heal. You know, there are times that, okay, yes, we prayed and it worked and the person is negative. I'm sure that's what you said now. There will still be some people like that. We may not have their records, you may not know, but they may be negative. But the truth is, there can be false positive. That you went somewhere else.
Dr. Akindasa, I wanted to say something. Okay. What is, rhetorical question or you may answer, what is the survival rate for breast cancer detected at stage 1 on medication?
Oh, excellent prognosis.
99%.
Excellent prognosis.
What is the survival rate of breast cancer on miracles, healing, or prayer? Maybe 2%. Maybe. There are people who it works for.
But a win is still a win.
No, statistically it's not a win. A win is not a win until it is a statistical win.
Is there false negative?
Do you know if husband let's address that one.
No, I wanted to say something.
Do you know if a man uses a pregnancy test, he can still show positive. A man has cancer and he uses a woman's pregnancy test, it can come out positive. Does that mean he's pregnant?
He's positive.
Yes.
That he's pregnant.
Yes. Certain cancers in men can activate
about churches. I want to say something about healing, right? Now, I believe God has the power to heal, right? I've never asked God to heal me of HIV before.
Why?
Yeah. That's because what is more important to me is healing my person, healing my soul, transforming my mind than HIV. So if God takes away HIV and I'm still the same person, I could actually get something worse than HIV. So what I'm more interested in is, you know, God helping me to become a better person, right? Because at the end of the day, that is what is paramount. And I feel like a lot of pastors set a lot of people up for stigmatization. And that's another thing I really want to talk about with this platform. Like, I've seen cases where, like I just stated, a pastor now, you are in front of the altar and then you say, if you have HIV, come outside. And then let's say we're all here and you're praying, you close your eyes and you feel that your neighbor is going outside when they called HIV. The truth is, before that neighbor comes back, you are out of that seat. And whether the healing works or not, that person is already set up for stigmatization. Because at the end of the day, I see you go outside when they call HIV. Oh no, whatever friendship people have with that particular person will go away. I was stigmatized in church several times. In my church, they couldn't give me mic for testimony because they felt like the next person would be uncomfortable to use it. And so they preferred to protect the interest of the members than, protecting my own feelings as a human being who's also a member of the church. In my church, if I sit down here and someone is coming to sit down here and they see that I'm the one sitting down here, that person will leave this seat and sit down the other place.
Why?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they
church.
felt it can be
That is wrong.
transmitted. No.
When was this? When
This
wrong.
happened last year in a barbing, because I've had series of stigmatization. They're all on my page, right? In a barbing salon, I went with my clipper and everything. A barber refused to barb me, not because he was scared, but because every other person there had a problem with the fact that I was in that same barbing salon. I've been to a restaurant where I ordered for juice. They were serving.
I saw this one trending.
Yes, they were serving everyone glass cup, but they gave me rubber
Plastic.
cup.
Why?
Now, I don't even, because they feel like if I use it, the next person will be, infected. Now, I've also had experience where I went out with someone, like just a casual date, and then the person went to ease herself, and then somebody met her outside and said, that boy you're with has HIV and stuff like that. And, people do this, nurses do this. Stigma hits more when you get it from places you don't expect, like hospital, churches, your home, from your family. Yes. Yes. Sometimes you go to the hospital to get your medication as a person living with HIV and the nurse is giving you somehow. The nurse is looking at you somehow. Do you understand? So you get it from people you don't expect, from nurses, doctors, in hospitals, from, a pastor, from your church, from your own brother, because I get stigmatized by my brothers a lot, right? There was a time
Your blood brothers.
Yes, blood, like very, very blood brothers. So there was a time I cooked, I had to save money and I wanted to do this togetherness with them, and I cooked and all of that. And because, of the HIV stuff, my food was there for like 3 days. It got spoiled. The whole pot of rice and stew and everything, that also on my page, so
your own blood brothers.
My own blood brothers.
Oh my.
My blood brothers. So I've had people stop doing stuff for me since I came out to talk about this.
Do you feel bad about this, or you understand?
Now, this is the thing, yeah. I feel bad because at the end of the day, these are my brothers, right? But I understand that there's something called stigmatization by association, right? If I probably had come with anybody, let's say a girl, right? And that girl is like my girlfriend. Everybody here might just be asking themselves, you might not say it loud. You might just be asking yourself, is that person also positive? Is that person also positive? And so that's why people living with HIV cannot even date me. That's why some ladies can't date me, because of the questions. Because those questions can make some people panic. Do you understand? So, and I understand what my brothers went through. One of them was a barber. Imagine one of my brothers being a barber and me, I have HIV. He had to stop me from coming to his place to come to even show up. Now, at that particular time, it was hurting, but over time, I got to understand. But after having to teach them and educate them, and they still do this, because you see, stigmatization do not just come from people who are not educated. The most educated ones even stigmatize, more actively. Do you understand? And so that is now the problem. And there are two forms of stigmatization: the passive stigmatization and the active stigmatization. Sometimes when you pity someone too much, it actually makes them feel like they have a problem. So you have to deal with people living with HIV like they are, because they're actually normal. Do you understand? They're actually normal. Nothing stops me from, being able to achieve the same thing you can achieve, from having the same talents that you have. Today, I'm a photographer. I have great pictures. And at the end of the day, I'm not being employed because I came out to say I have HIV. So now it is even now more difficult for me. Do you understand? To work and all of that. You find people who are living with HIV being sacked from their workplace because they found out about their health issues. You find people being sacked, and that's why a lot of people now have to forge their test results because they want to hide.
Try.
And because if they are found out, they will be discriminated. Do you understand? And so this is why a lot of people living with HIV are in the closet. They can't come out. Do you understand? They will not want to come out because of the things that is attached to it. Do you understand? So it's really, really, it's not like it's the problem. The stigma is just crazy.
I want to cook.
Doctor, please,
Before
you
Doctor
cook,
cooks,
before you
I
go
want to
for-
cook
No,
this
that's
another cooking. Do you know how many of your celebrities
Have
That
HIV.
are HIV positive?
Wow.
No. I said I want to cook.
Okay.
Now, they hide it. So he is here openly accepting his own. You are avoiding him. That celeb that you are going to meet, do you know their HIV status? Because they are rich enough to have the medicines delivered to them at home. So they don't have to go to the hospital, and they don't have to, even if they had to go to the hospital, they don't have to go to public hospitals, so you don't know their status. Discrimination, like he said, is dangerous.
Doctors, there's something he said that really pierced my heart. And I've also seen that in faith, in Christendom, where, like they said, the church is a hospital, right? We're all, if we were normal and perfect, we wouldn't be there. We'd be in our homes, just chilling. But then when you come, people are looking at, is he wearing earring? Is he this? Is he that? I have a health problem, and I'm coming to a place where I'm supposed to be, received wholeheartedly and helped through it, even psychologically and otherwise. And somebody is a professional. And I'm asking you professionals, what is going on in your field, sir and ma? Why are your colleagues doing this to people that they should help?
Doctors and nurses.
It's not enough training.
If there is a nurse or a doctor stigmatizing any HIV positive patient, that medical personnel is unethical.
Bam.
And what is the punishment for being unethical?
Okay. Unfortunately, if that kind of situation is reported to if it's a doctor, for instance, you could report to the MDCN that you are being stigmatized, and an investigation can be launched to know exactly what happened. And same can go for nurses. I think that most people don't really talk about it. They're not loud about it, that they're being stigmatized. But either way, as a medical practitioner, Hippocratic oath had been sworn. You have a duty to protect. You have a duty to do good. Stigmatizing and adding to the problem is definitely an unethical practice for a medical practitioner, whether nurse, whether in whatever level or cadre.
Yeah, and in fact, it's a punishable offense in the sense that the person can be sanctioned, their license can be suspended, or it can be revoked. So yes, if you are found discriminating a patient because of their health status, you can be punished. So that is why I don't know how it happens in other cadres, but for doctors, it's punishable. The only problem that we get to have, especially in this part, is that we have weak systems. Our systems are quite weak. So because of that, there's a lot of exploitation that goes on at the back end, and then Nigerians don't tend to see things through, especially through proper channels. So when something like that happens, you're like, okay, I'm just going to let it go. Like it happened to me now. So don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry. Shebi is because I'm sick. No, you have a right to dignity as a patient when you go to see a doctor. You have a right to be treated properly just like any other person. Just like how people go to church and you don't see their problems on their head should be the same when you go to the hospital. Because let me tell you, the people way terrible past na inside church the worst of the worst, you still see them in church. Like
Preach,
that
brother.
is exactly what the church is for. And it's not because it's supposed to be a bad thing, but it's because that's what the church is all
We're
about.
going to receive healing.
It's a reflection of society. The same thing happens with the hospital, but the only difference is that people are coming for healing. So when you start to discriminate and you begin to, it's as if you're trying to paint a perfect society, and there is no perfect society. Nothing like that exists in today's day and age. So I think it's just very important that people who have that kind of mindset need to start being held accountable. And maybe when that starts, maybe when we have a first scapegoat, then other people will begin to follow. So, but I also want to advise, to encourage Nigerians to see things through. when a doctor, a healthcare professional, does something to you that you know very well is a breach of their professional conduct, see it through to the council level. To the, for doctors, I know it is the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. See it through to them. Every doctor in Nigeria has an MDCN registration number. I know my own registration number. So you can report the doctor. All you need is their full name. Once you can get their full name, that's all. Take it up with the right quarters and see it through.
Now, this is the thing about reporting. Like, a lot of people have had, situations where the nurse in their area find out about their HIV status and went to tell every other person in the area. So they got to find out.
That in itself is a don't
you guys swear to an oath or something?
I need to quickly iron that one out, because there's a tendency for this video to go very far. That is a breach of professional conduct, and the person can not just their license revoked, they can be arrested. So it's a breach of confidentiality, and that in itself is a breach of professional conduct. Your license should be revoked, and you should be taken to. You will do jail.
Okay.
Yes, in cases like that, you must do jail.
Okay. So
it's an offense. That is against the fundamental human rights.
It's an offense. Yeah. So the person
under
does
the
jail, like literally.
So under medical practice, it's an offense.
So I've had cases like that, right? I've had cases where even the nurse was blackmailing the patient. Like, she was going to tell more people.
Where's the nurse? Jesus.
And now a lot of things happen. That is why a lot of ladies living with HIV are depressed now, because they're in relationships where their partner are blackmailing them. Oh, stay. No matter how I treat you, stay. If you go and talk, I will post a picture that you have it. If you do this, I'll post a picture that you have it. So this particular nurse, do you understand? She knows this particular lady, right? And the lady is like upright with her. And then she keeps on collecting money. Collecting money. This medication is supposed to be for free. But you have a nurse or nurses that collect money from people living with HIV. I don't like to call them HIV patients, because a patient is someone who is, in the hospital and sick. I'm not a patient. I'm not even a victim. In fact, HIV is the victim for me. Do you understand? So you have nurses who collect money to send these medications to people. I'm not even talking about maybe 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. I'm talking about 150K, 200K.
Real life.
Yes, it happens. It happens. Do you know that until I came out to actually say HIV was free, a lot of people were paying for it. A lot of people were paying for it. So this medication is for free. Do you understand? Yeah. And, if you want to also get it in some pharmacy, like in Abuja, there's somewhere called H-Medics. You can see there's a price tag here. You can get a H-Medics, right? With doctor prescription, like you say, right? So, but at the end of the day, people do not even know these informations. And that's why they're being taken advantage of. And they're being blackmailed. You see, a doctor will do a test on a person living with HIV, to come out positive, and then you video it.
The doctor will video it.
Yes. These videos are on my platform. Crazy. You see doctors video it. A lot of doctors are unethical. You see nurses making derogatory posts about people living with HIV. Do you understand? They are all on the internet. And these are the things that we actually need to change, because like I said, stigma hits more from people you don't even expect it from. Do you understand? So nurses blackmailing people, nurses selling medications, selling things they're not supposed to sell, and all of that. I understand that a person might be far, and then you want to send the medication, they have to pay for transportation and stuff like that. Right, that's fine.
But 150,000 naira
to sell stuff like that
Chika,
for just one
Chika, I would allow you, maybe if there is an instance or an example, I would allow you share here. But it's also important to point out that Dr. Wale and Dr. Akindasa have emphasized that if you act in a certain way,
it is punishable
that is
by law.
irresponsible. It is punishable by law. Yeah. But I think what Chika is trying to say is that, yes, it is punishable by law. But there are people who still do it. So Chika, is there an example of where this incident happened?
Please,
and somebody reported, and let's just tell us the outcome.
No, so number one, for a person to even report, it has to be that the person is ready for the worst that could happen. Because the reason why people don't report cases of stuffs like this is because they're even scared of another ear hearing it. So sorry, I have to use this out. So if he discriminates me, or if he's talking bad about me, I will condone him, because I don't even want him to gist you the gist. So I will not even report. And then imagine when I go to her and say, okay, I want to report him to you. See what he did to me. And then she now says, now waiting him do. What am I tell you? Come here. Papa Mateo will now say, Daddy Fish, come here. Before you know,
the gist has spread.
So even if anything is going to happen to him, in the process of getting him sanctioned, multiple people have already known about my status. Who's more at risk? Me. Do you understand?
Especially when it's a reputation thing.
Exactly. So they rather die with it or keep it within themselves. And this is the main reason why, people are not breaking loose from stigmatization and all of that.
Do you feel like you're fighting a lone battle? How many people, you said you conduct therapy for people that are living with HIV and stuff like that. Do you have
support
other soldiers on this battlefield? Because it's looking like it's just you carry this burden of, championing this cause. Do you have people who have also damned the consequences?
No, very big no. So I have tried to. There's a body called NACA, National Agency for the Control of AIDS. Right, I've tried. Right, but I don't know why NACA do not want to be a backup to me and to what I do. Maybe because of my own character flaws. Maybe because they would feel, the way I lived my life is not a good way to, put you out there and stuff like that. Maybe that because I have tried. Because in stuffs like this, when people have experiences like this, they're supposed to report to NACA. NACA is supposed to be the one to actually
that's the agency now for the control of AIDS.
And NACA is supposed to also have lawyers that, are ready to fight for these people, for us living with HIV when stuff like this happen. So it's not been easy, right? I'm the only person speaking about it. In fact, sometimes people living with HIV have to also stigmatize me to protect themselves. So something happened just, today when I came to Lagos. Some people, I told some people in my matchmaking platform that I'm in Lagos, and stuff like that. Surprisingly, all of them have left Lagos. I don't know why, because at the end of the day, if they associate with me, questions will come up. Do you understand? So they are forced to stigmatize. So this thing is not really, really easy. Do you understand? And for me, it is very, very difficult. I don't even have friends.
Oh my.
Everything stops on TikTok. I don't have family members. There was a time a family member told me that he hopes I know that if I die now, they're not going to bury me. I mean, they're not going to bury me. I'm a disgrace. Do you understand?
What about your brothers?
This is the person that wrote it out. I have 2 elder brothers, just 2. My mom and dad are late. And, for me, it's even more difficult to find work because I'm not a graduate. I'm a secondary school dropout. Okay. But I had to, yes, I'm a dropout, but I had to teach myself a lot of things. I'm so interested, in spreading the word. There are several times that I will get coins from my life. I will go to other people's life. I will gift them so that they will bring me up to their panel. And then so I will teach them about HIV. I've intruded your life like several times that I will type, I have HIV, please let me speak. I have HIV, please let me speak.
I can't, I'm watching 4 phones.
Yes, 4 phones.
I do that most times because I'm very, very interested. A lot of people living with HIV are caged. Do you understand? So there's NACA, there's NEP1, the Society of People Living with HIV. There's Ninarella. There are a group of religious leaders living with HIV. They have an agent. So yes, so there's all of these things, but the disassociation, I do not understand why, but I'm still carrying on, and God is just helping me.
Should we call them out for you? Should we call them out for you? NACA. Be calling their name. Which one?
I like to. Sorry, doctor.
And then sorry, please. And then I also have to really emphasize on the fact that things are really, really looking easy for me. Now I like to not look like my problem. I like to want to wear white and look okay, but it's like not easy when you're trying to push something. And then the thing you have to, I don't care about HIV. I don't really care about the stigma. I care about what to do to put food on my table. Do you understand? So yeah, it's just difficult not having something to do and all of that.
I'd like to really, really celebrate you. You're bold and you speak very well. You're doing well. You have found purpose in pain. Like you have been able to touch lives. And I'm sure that there are people that would never post or even never comment on any of the posts. But, watching you living positively is actually motivating them to wake up the next day and know that if he is doing it, I can also do it. So while we wait for the bodies to come on board, I would like to really say that you're doing a good job and you should please keep it up. I'm sure that very soon things will turn for
Are
the
you sure the
youth.
bodies will come on board?
No, it's
I want
important.
to
No,
strongly
the Honest
believe
Bunch,
that.
the Honest Bunch
Are you sure
podcast.
the body call them
No,
out?
wait. The Honest
Yeah.
Bunch podcast. The
I
Honest Bunch
think
podcast
I
is a
will-
very viable platform.
Yes.
And from experience, we have even had the Nigerian Army respond to claims made on this platform. NACA, the Agency for the Control of AIDS, and all other relevant agencies. This is a young Nigerian who, from his personal experience, is spreading a gospel that would help a lot of people. Nigeria's demography, we have so many young people. And if you have somebody who is looking at his life and saying, this is how we must do things right so that we don't have these issues or we don't deal with them, it's important that you collaborate, partner, and give him all the support. If National Orientation Agency, NACA, Ministry for Youths, everything that has to do with Ministry for Health, everything that has to do with how this young man can get this message across to the right people, it's also very, very important. And just listening to him speak, if you tell anybody that he is a secondary school dropout, you would not believe. Very articulate, can express himself, and you would understand. So please, if you are a Nigerian, even any international organization that is looking for a photographer that would, with creativity and dedication, bring your ideas to life, Chika Wonder is the right person for you. Before we continue with the conversation, please, your social media handle.
Yeah, on TikTok is Undetectable Chika.
Undetectable
Yeah.
Chika on TikTok.
Yes, and on Instagram is Chika Wonder. On Facebook is Chika Wonder. Although my Facebook have been disabled several times, so I just opened. So people always report my page and all of that.
Why?
So I think for some people, they feel like I'm too happy being HIV positive. They don't like how I carry myself, so they try to report my account. But on my TikTok, I have 130 something K following, 139K following on TikTok. So yeah, that is still.
So please, Honest Bunch community, let us show Chika Wonder massive love.
That's
you know
right.
how we are. We give support. We are very positive, and it is impact that we prioritize. So across all social media platforms, go and show Chika love. Importantly, Chika don't talk say, they beg for anything. Make una give and walk. Make una give and work. Make una see the result and make him fit continue to do the plenty good work when they do. He's not begging anybody. He doesn't want you to give him something to just hold body. Now, person will be say get work. He sabi wetin they do. He get hand work. Make una give and work. So let's carry on with this conversation. Now, Doctors Wale and Doctors Akindasa, I would like to ask, in your line of work, I know that you might have encountered people living with HIV, but there's something Chika mentioned, that it's not just HIV. He has mentioned hepatitis B. You have also seconded that. Even chlamydia. Even chlamydia. I want to ask a question about a pandemic, hookup culture in Nigeria. How much of a danger is hookup culture to the spread of sexually transmitted infections?
I would say they go hand in hand, and especially because of the fact that caution is always thrown into the air when it comes to hookup. There is no, everyone is in that hormone raging mode and you just want to hook up. There is no, let me see your tests. There is no pause. Go run some tests. Can we do tests first to understand if you are okay? Can you even order some test kits? Because right now, I think there are some available test kits. I don't know if those things...
Do.
Yes. So that you can even do before you get into it. So hookup culture has made it such that I like this girl, I want Nakam. I like this guy, I want Nakam.
Mo run package.
Mo just quickly run one quick package like that. Mo just quickly run. And I've been in conversations with a lot of men, and you see that there's just not that time to just pause and say, oh, because she's beautiful, because he's handsome, or because he's well-to-do, I feel that I want to just get down with him. There's no time to pause. And hookup culture has blurred those lines that allow you to say, okay, let's take it slow. Let's go for dinner. Let's sit down. Let's talk.
They'll sit down on a talking stage.
Do you understand? They say that's talking, in the talking stage, no test is involved and all of that. And that has given rise to the spread. And that's why you will see that in Lagos, for instance, Lagos has one of the highest burden of HIV in Nigeria. And if you look at it, if we look into the trends and culture, what state is leading the hookup culture? You would see that, of course, it's the center of excellence. You have to be excellent. You can be excellent in good and bad stuff. So right. So but that's plays a very key role. Lifestyle, because this conversation that we are having is a conversation of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, and the lifestyle of meeting people randomly and getting, in bed with them randomly is playing a role in the advent of not just HIV now, but other sexually transmitted infections. And trust me, it has gotten to points where people are in relationships that you don't even do tests. So, for instance, a wife is HIV positive. The husband does not know.
I was going to mention that.
Discordant couples. These discordant couples.
Please say that again. Discordant.
Yes, like several discordant couples. So where the one partner is positive, the other one is negative.
I will hide it.
Yes, and it's happening. So, and that is why I always say that if you have a partner that is always resisting doing tests openly, like in a place where there is a problem, just know that there is a problem. Like there is actually a serious problem. Somebody is deferring tests, refusing to run tests because of the fact that means they are hiding something that they don't really want to talk to you about. So it's very important. Like these conversations that we are having, it goes beyond just there's so much lifestyle that is affecting, us, and hookup culture is actually one of them.
Yeah, because
please, sorry, one minute. One thing there's an old saying that is still very relevant till today, and that saying that they show for face is very, very, relevant. Very relevant. As at day before yesterday, I still had somebody in my office who came for a general checkup. And she's positive. She's chubbier than I am. You would not know. She's very beautiful. You would not know. And I can count. In fact, if I would say 10 out of 10 positive patients I've seen, 9 out of 10, they look very good. You would never guess. It's only when it progresses to HIV, AIDS, the full-blown AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that's when they can begin to look like it. But for most people, they don't look like it. And that's one of the reasons why hookup is dangerous, because you can't know just by looking at somebody.
You can't know. And most times, people like what Daddy Freeze said, influential people, celebrities, people, leaders, people that you don't know, you do not know their sexual, powerful people, let's just put it like that, whom you are not aware of their sexual status, can easily transmit it to you. And they don't owe you to tell you their status because of the mode at which you are meeting them. So that is why it is very important for young people to slow down, to ask certain questions. Yes, you can be protecting yourself, but what about the other person? What about the consequences of the lifestyle that you want to undertake? Have you sat down to really count the cost and how it can affect? And for women, it's actually particularly concerning because when you are a mother and you are HIV positive, the chances of passing it to your child is very high. Are you going to ensure that when you're pregnant, or if you're going to get pregnant and be in a healthy relationship, you are going to have that responsibility to take your therapy seriously enough to ensure that you do not, you reach the U, that is the undetectable equals to untransmissible. Are you going to be getting to that point? Are you going to be responsible enough to get to that point? These are critical questions that always need to be asked. And that is why, beyond just the conversation of discipline and all, we all need to just really analyze, okay, what are the risk factors, right? Because there are so many risk factors. We've talked about accidents, multiple blood transfusions, needle injuries, injuries done with sharp objects, and then, of course, sexual intercourse. So you look at yourself as a human being and ask yourself, okay, what are my risk factors? When you ask yourself those questions, can I modify them? That's the second question. If the answer to that question is yes, modify it.
Please, there's something you said here that, as usual, got to me. From everything I've heard from you, doctor, it's abstinence is still the best remedy.
Yeah.
But it's hard to abstain when you're married. And then it's also...
When you are married, okay?
Yes, it's hard to abstain when you're married. And I'm headed somewhere, Daddy Freeze.
Okay.
Who you're marrying is a human being. And we live in Lagos where people are very deceitful. Now you're marrying somebody and till death do us part, you're entrusting your whole self to the person. And you can't wake up and tell your husband, let's use a condom. Do you understand? wetin we go do? Wetin
What I
person
would
wan
advise
do
is
for
that,
this
oh,
life?
sorry, before you respond, what I would advise in a case like that is for any couple, right? You run tests, just like you run tests before you got married. Run tests every year, periodically.
Every year.
Yes.
But you know that the virus also develops within a period of time. So
if you notice that your partner is like that, you could do every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
What if you also have a partner that's in the medical field?
You can do the same. No, let me tell you something. If the intentions are clear, nobody, right, will be unwilling to run those tests. And look, you can live a reckless lifestyle and yet still be careful. Yes. There are some people, yes, you can still protect yourself in the sense that you can do certain things. People have high lifestyles, but then they are like, okay, there are just certain principles. You need to do a test first before anything. First, let's clear that one. Go run this test in this clinic, or in this lab, and then let me see the results before we have anything to do. Like you can be disciplined. You can have certain.
These are for people that are doing extramarital affair.
No, I'm not just.
Now, if you are doing extramarital affair and the person you are doing extramarital affair has a boyfriend that also does not, that now has a girlfriend.
But now
there's no winning.
Yes, but what I would just say is that for every couple, right, you should regularly do tests. Regularly, undisputed run tests, do the retroviral screening, all of that, and you can do it 6 months less biannually or annually, like depending on how this, and it's just normal. You did tests before you got married now, so why can't you do tests after you've gotten married to check and know if everything is going well, and then everyone can now make a conscious decision. Oh, this particular thing, you have it, or keep it away from me. You know, those kind of things. Very important to ask those questions, because, and it goes both ways. It's not just man doing it to woman. It's woman doing it to man as well. Yeah. So all of these things are very important, when we are talking about engaging ourselves, sexually and all.
But I want to quickly chip in something about disclosure. You see, disclosure is harder among couples than even among, boyfriend and girlfriend. And, I've had situations where the woman is HIV positive and would not say anything to the husband. And
we had a patient like that.
Yes,
we had a patient like that.
There's one that actually
now,
went
what is
viral.
your role as a doctor?
My role as a doctor is to protect. My role as a doctor. I need to address it. My role as a doctor is to protect the confidentiality of the patient. Now, if the husband now decides and tells the wife that let's go and do an HIV test and I want to see if you're HIV positive, I won't stop him.
Then you also counsel the wife.
The wife,
counsel
and then I will also counsel
to open up to the partner.
Yes, of course, I will let the patient know that you have to let your partner know. However, it is important for you to take certain steps to put yourself to a level of you and you. That is, you are undetectable and untransmissible. And of course, it will be documented because I'll document it there. But then to openly call the partner and say, sit down. I have something. If the woman, like that is in the case, the woman wishes that I do not tell her partner about it, I can't.
Please, you were saying something.
No, we are going to bring him back.
You were saying something. Let him land.
There's something about disclosure that's very important, and disclosure is harder among couples, right? So there was a situation where a popular comedian called Mr. Bishop came out and said that his wife died because she was hiding her HIV status from her, that if she had told him, he would have supported it. Because the thing about hiding your HIV status from your partner, especially if you're married, is because you need to take your medications every day. So if you're hiding it, you might not be able to take it when your husband is around. And if your husband is someone that works at home and is always at home, you always have to hide and take it. The time you cannot hide, you eventually not take it. And so what happens is that if you do that over a period of time, it's now difficult for you to, have a healthy life. Now, what I advise people, if you want to disclose your HIV status to your partner, to your boyfriend, the first thing is you have to, bring up HIV topic very subtly. You can talk about, different stuff that has to do with HIV. You could even actually show your partner my video. Show your partner my video and ask, what do you think about this guy and stuff like that. The way he talks about HIV would know whether you should disclose it. But if it is your partner, because there are 3 R's that I put. So when it comes to disclosure, you have the right to choose to disclose your HIV status to anybody of your choice. You have the right. But if you're married, it is your responsibility to tell your partner, right? Yeah. And then if you intentionally want to have intimacy with people without protection to infect them, then it's a crime.
Hey.
Do you understand? So these are the things that I'd like to tell people. So when it comes to disclosure, start subtly. Don't just tell somebody that you have HIV. Bring up topics. Ask them about HIV. Try to know what they think about it. Try to know the knowledge level they are in when it comes to HIV. Then that will help you. Emotional intelligence, exactly. So that will help you know how to disclose it. And the environment, if you're not married, the environment at which you are in is very important when it comes to disclosing. Because I know somebody who was going to have a date with her boyfriend in the zoo, and intend to tell the boyfriend that she has HIV in the zoo. What if they push you close to lion or something? So you should find a convenient place, not somewhere close, because some people can feel betrayed that you didn't tell them, and then they might act. Do you understand? So I've seen people who got beaten up after they disclosed their HIV status. I've seen marriages that didn't last 6 hours after HIV disclosure. So you have to understand it. And if you are HIV positive and you are currently in courtship with somebody who is not positive, before you get married, it's your responsibility to tell that person. Don't wait till after marriage and then you now start saying, oh, it has gotten to the part where you're married, he cannot go back. No. That is not good. That is betrayal. So tell the person on time. The person has the right to, choose to be with you or not. And then don't tell a person that you have HIV with a pitiful face, like you're not a problem. Do you understand? And then don't be in a relationship where somebody who is dating you feels like they're doing a favor to you being with you. No, it's not a favor. You are deserving of love and you have the capacity to love. So nobody should make you feel that way, right? Yes. So these are like very important things when it comes to disclosure.
Chika.
And disclose with your heads up.
Chika.
So
A woman in a marriage was not HIV when they got married and is HIV now. You are going to deal with a lot more than just HIV. Question 1, where did you get it from? It doesn't jump on people. So you are going to deal first. And one of the reasons why hepatitis B, which also can be sexually transmitted,
and C
is still a little bit. If a woman comes home and says she has hepatitis B, the likelihood that the husband will look at her from a cheating perspective is minimal. So you are dealing with two things. You are dealing with an incurable, quote and unquote, ailment, and where you got it from, because we all know that salon prick, that is a 1 or 2%. The real culprit, the doctors know. So I don't know if it's the doctors should answer my question or you or anybody.
I'll chip in something. Now the truth is, a lot of people married right now did not check their HIV status before they got married,
or they checked it and it was wrongly done.
Or even during window period.
Or during
window period. Exactly. The person had been infected already, but from blood test is not yet showing.
And sometimes because HIV has a latency period of 2 to 10 years.
Exactly. So and it's very
sorry, Chika. I need to let people know what latency period means. So latency period is literally a period whereby the person might not manifest any symptoms.
But it will be detectable.
Yes. It will be detectable, but
no symptoms.
It will not show any symptoms of HIV at all. Like literally healthy, chubby, fine, active, all those things.
But no symptoms whatsoever.
No symptoms related to HIV.
Yeah, because I said I've been HIV for 9 years, but I just started taking medication So for those times I was not on medication, I was barely sick until the last period. Do you understand? So yes, it's true. And there are some people that can stay 10 to 15 years without seeing symptoms. So if you don't go to check up, you will not really know if you have HIV or not. And that's why it's very good that you shouldn't wait for, any signs. Don't wait, just, check. Now, I was going to say something about married couples. A lot of married couples do not check their HIV status, or like you said, they are in their window period and all of that. So, even in your marriage right now, if you're watching this video, please just conduct a test. Do you understand? Now, there are people who feels like if you suggest HIV test to them, there are people who feels like if you suggest HIV test to them, they see it as an insult.
As if they're cheating.
You are insulting them. What do you mean I should check myself? The truth is, you have to test before you taste. Do you understand? That's why a lot of people should actually, have in their head. Because at the end of the day, a person who sees testing like an insult is somebody who's not really cautious about their own self. It should tell you how indisciplined they are. Do you understand? Because you should even prioritize a partner who wants you guys to do HIV tests. It will show. It should actually show that the partner wants you guys to be together. Do you understand? Yeah. And you see, when you go for first dates, instead of talking about, your favorite sex position and whether you squirt or not, please talk about HIV, talk about health. It's very, very important. Let it be what you discuss about during the first, dates. It's very important.
Now, another, should I say, pandemic that is upon us is the recreational drug pandemic. If you have not, it's like HIV. If it has not affected you, trust me, it will.
You.
Every family has one person in rehab right now or on the street, full blown. There are two things, full blown. There are two aspects to recreational drugs and HIV. One is the needles. After sex or on the same level as sex is sharing needles.
Sharp objects.
The second part, all recreational drugs, including alcohol, loosen you and let your guard down. You will be more likely to wear that condom if you did not smoke that wrap before you got into the room. So I think in as much as a lot of people, I was watching Instagram the other day, the girl was holding a wrap. Say, after this, I'm going to enjoy the guy I came to do hookup with. First of all, you are doing hookup, meaning you are with multiple partners. Secondly, you are loosening the thing that can...
You are losing your inhibitions.
The inhibitions. Thank you very much. So please, starting with the doctors and ending with you, Chika, what has your experience been with recreational drugs, alcohol, and inhibitions when it comes to sex? That has now do you know how many women had one night stand because they went on an all girls night out? A drink
And we're
was
taking
spiked,
shots.
and we're taking
Shots on shots.
A woman that would never cheat normally.
My first shot.
And by the
never
fourth
cheat
shot, they're already
normally.
be like this.
They slept with a guy and they got something. So doctors, please help us preach this. And then finally, Chika will give us because I can see how the wealth of knowledge you carry.
Shook.
Like you mentioned, when you take the recreational medications or drugs, when you use them, they loosen you. So basically, when they say, "Oh, you're too uptight, have a sip," and the moment you take that, the person loses it, their guard comes down, their defense comes down, and the brain isn't no longer in control as it ought to be. Oh, I need to stop, I need to pause, I need to do this. And what happens is that once your brain is no longer actively in control, your body is on autopilot and you are just moving with the flow rather than consciously making decisions. The impulse at that time helps you to make those decisions. So when it could be alcohol that could loosen you. There are some people that a simple sip of beer can loosen them. There are some that it has to be higher than that. But then the funny thing that happens is, over time, when that happens, of course, it's a window period. And during that window period, anything can come in, any STI, including HIV as well. So the probability, and there are some people that are I say that there are some patients that are actually quite unfortunate. It is their very first experience that they got that, like they said, "Oh, I wanted to drink and just really loosen up and I wanted to even know what alcohol felt like." Okay. And it is just that experience that they were so unfortunate and they came down with, a sexually transmitted infection. But then beyond that, there are so many other things this also does to you. It puts you at a point where when you start getting used to things like this, right? Your inhibitions are usually let go. You think more about the high that the drink gives you than the control and the advantages of taking a pause and relaxing, right? So your body wants to taste that high. And I've noticed this with a lot of, and when I made videos for so many, like when I made videos on educating about the use of recreational drugs, this was the main thing. Like, a lot of time, these people are high. They want to achieve that high that their body felt the last time. So they take those drugs, and that is what takes them there. Another window, again, is opened, and anything can happen. The next time, your body needs more, because it's a vicious cycle. When your brain has experienced something, it maps it, and it says that you see that thing that you did, I like it. I want you to do it again. So you start craving it again, and this time around, they want to see what is, if this one is high, is there another?
Higher.
Exactly, and that is what happens, and that is why we are seeing the burden of rehabs. Today, a lot of people, I remember one of my colleagues once mentioned that in the next 5 to 10 years, one of the places that will bring in money more in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is rehabs. So just go and start investing in rehabs and dialysis centers, because we are seeing a lot of young people, not just the fact that there's rehab now. Most of these people have damaged their kidneys, they've damaged their livers, they've damaged, like there's so many damage. Apart from the psychological and psychiatric damage that has happened, there is organ damage that has already happened, heart failure, stroke. Some of them come down with stroke. You can take alcohol, you can abuse alcohol to a point where you can have a stroke. Very confirmed, seen this happen personally in my own private practice. So these are things that actually are documented and like they happen. So there are levels to these things, and there are these conversations are conversations that we will not easily say or out there, but these things are currently existing today.
Okay, let me say something.
Please.
Because I work in a dialysis center and the commonest cause why people come down with kidney problems, number 1 is hypertension, number 2 is diabetes, number 3 is recreational drugs. And a lot of people get initiated to it. Some people, most of them through peer influence, they see their friends tasting it. I picked this bottle of water to make an analogy. Sometimes people go to parties and there's this red cup going round, and you just serve yourself from the juice container, and you're not sure what is even inside it. You take it, you enjoy it, and you go back to it. And before you know it, you ask your friend, "Oh, what did you even put in the party, in the juice we drank at your party the other day?" And that's where it starts from. Last week we had about 2 people. They came with their mom to run tests because their mothers were worried about them. And one thing with substance abuse is highly addictive. Substance abuse, very, very addictive. And addiction goes hand in hand. Once you begin to engage in recreational drugs recurrently, it's only a matter of time before sexual addiction comes into it. And before the person knows it, the health status just goes down the hill. HIV sets in. Hepatitis B and C are transmitted same way HIV is transmitted. Just that they are even more infectious. It's easier to get them than even HIV/AIDS. So before you know it, those things, they share needles, they share, they inject and several things like that. Before you know it, it becomes a full-blown pandemic, and it's a problem to the parents as well, for those that have some form of social, support. So it's really important for everyone to be careful. Say no to peer pressure. It's really important. Say no to, avoid friends that make you drink, avoid friends that make you smoke. And there's this, I was glad when I heard that NAFDAC was about to ban sachet drinks and all, because it's been made affordable to all. Let me put it that way.
They will sell it in bus stops.
The wrong thing has been made available to everybody, and that is really wrong. Even the young people are buying it. Children, you'll be surprised. You drive down the road and you see that young child. The uncle took it and gave her
sleeping medication.
Yes.
They call it belebe.
Yes, they call it that. And they are drinking the rest. The elder brother has taken it and has given the younger one. They are going to throw it away for me, and so that mommy will not see it. And that one is squeezing what is left, and that's how it starts from. So everyone should be careful, and we should say no to peer pressure. Avoid recreational drugs. It's really, really damaging. Another thing that's similar to recreational drugs is agbo, the herbal concussions.
We're going to come to cook that together. Because you stopped me. So we're going. No. Okay. I'm waiting to get there. Is that we are going to
because
come
when
there.
patients come down with renal problem, one of the things we ask about history of herbal concussion. You don't know what is inside. Yes, they can combine all sorts of things. They will ferment it. And before you know it, it's doing so much damage. Few years down the line, the person comes down with renal problems that would require dialysis. So it's really important to avoid peer pressure and avoid recreational drugs at all costs.
So I like the fact that you have
He has not
emphasized.
yet answered though.
I will allow him. But let me just emphasize on what our doctors have done. Tests, really very important.
Very, very.
Most times because of the fear of the unknown, most people would rather not want to go and find out. They will just want to man. That's why some people say, get the way when body they do me. But if I don't take 1 or 2, I go there okay.
Other material, it is a myth. It is a fallacy. It is not true. A lot of people believe that what you don't know cannot harm you. That is why they don't do tests. It is very wrong, because what you don't know can harm you and can kill you.
True. And can also affect other people.
And can also affect other people. So doing your general checkup once a year, very important. And depending on what the person is even managing, somebody that is managing breast cancer already cannot do general checkup once a year. Follow-ups could be every 6 months, depending on what the oncologist will want the person to do.
Very true.
But if you don't check for some things, you won't know it's there. They call hypertension and diabetes silent killers. Why? Because even HIV is silent, especially in the early stage before complications start setting in and other things. So because it doesn't show and you can be carrying on just fine, the fact that you are doing fine does not mean that everything is perfectly fine.
Very true. I like the reason why I wanted to emphasize is because most people will tell you, if you go there now and can't go do tests, the thing when you go find waiting, you can't go find waiting. So I think it's also very important that we
patients tell me that
talk about it. Then also the culture of medical checkups. You know, some people will be shocked. Some will say, I never ever go. We know they go hospital for our family. I never ever go hospital. We know they sick.
Then go ask that person, say, that woman will die for your family. Now spiritual. That sudden death.
So I like the fact that we have emphasized this.
Yes,
and people should make it a habit.
A habit. I know people that it is their birthday gift to themselves. That every year, how constantly, you should have your general checkup once a year. Basic things you should check. Check your blood pressure, check your sugar, check your cholesterol level. Cholesterol is something that does not show any symptoms, yet it can affect several organs in the body, can lead to stroke, can lead to heart attack, and several other things. You need to also check kidneys, check liver. Kidney problems will not show until about 75% of both kidneys are damaged. If one kidney is working, you won't know.
Again.
I said kidney problems will not show any symptoms until 75% of both kidneys are damaged. So if one kidney is working, the other one is not working, you won't even know. As in, it won't show symptoms. That is the essence of having a thorough general checkup, at least once a year. One should make it a gift to themselves. Check the kidneys, check the liver, check cancer screenings. You'll be surprised that I know someone that died of breast cancer at 25 years. I'm talking about someone I know at 25. I know someone currently battling with it at 30. So one should understand family history. Family history is very, very crucial and important, especially if a father, mother, brothers or sister has died from a cancer-related death. One should check and look out for those kind of cancers. Do your cancer screening test once a year also. You'll be surprised that sometimes when you hang out with your friends, you can finish 100,000 sitting or even spend way more than that. Meanwhile, general checkup costs way less to check the vital organs in the body. So you could, doing your general checkup is important.
When you have, when you do the HPV vaccine, how long does it take before you go for a repeat?
Okay, for once you have completed the vaccination, it can last for 25, 30 years. You don't need a booster dose. But then it's important, especially for children now. I like what government is doing, making it free and available at most general hospitals now. The best time to have it is before the first sexual exposure, the coitus. So like from age 9 and above. But the best time is before that lady actually has exposure to intercourse. Because most times, the human papilloma virus, a lot of people will have it in the course of their life. It doesn't show symptoms, so you won't even know it's there. One can meet somebody, catch the virus, your body recovers from it. But if it's that strain, that can lead to cervical cancer in the future, it can persist.
You don't carry me go one side now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You still talk about foot cancer from the same HPV.
Because pap smear is something that I would do normally.
Yes.
And then
once in 3 years.
Yes, I've done that severally. And then I got the HPV vaccine. So if you've gone through like the cervical cancer screening, done your pap smear, and it's okay, you're fine. So if you take the HPV, the vaccine, are you not?
You're very good, but you should still check once in 3 years. You could do once in 3 years, once in 5
go
years.
for a pap smear as well
a
again.
pap smear once in 3 to 5 years. But for breast scan, for people less than 40, you do a breast ultrasound. For those above 40, a mammogram.
Yeah.
But that's usually advisable once in 3 years also. So when you're doing your checkup, no need to do the pap smear and cervical and the mammo every year. You could do once in 3 years. So, you know.
So is there a vaccine? Sorry, last question. Is there a vaccine for that one? Just
breast
as
cancer, no.
Yeah, just as you have
at the moment.
I mean, you guys try now. You tell your colleagues.
All right, we'll look into it. But for hepatitis B, you know, that the first mentioned hepatitis B a lot. For hepatitis B, there's a vaccine
I took that already.
All right. But for C, there's no vaccine yet. And HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C are transmitted the same way.
And for those that might be asking, there is really, at this point, there is still no vaccine for HIV, although progress is underway.
Yeah.
Chika, you wanted to...
Okay, so I wanted to say something about the recreational drugs that they were talking about. So because I was on the streets and I understand this life here, I got to know that a lot of young people do not feel like they can perform very well without these medications,
Tramadol.
especially the one they call Molly, Tramadol and all of that, you know, especially girls. And now this is the thing. Young girls are usually more into these things than guys. Young girls. Because you see a girl that wants to have intimacy with an older man, with a clear eye, she cannot do that. So she needs to be on Molly, on Canadian Loud, and, you know, take some alcohol. And this also make you lose your consciousness to actually, opt out for the preventive options that we have, because we have PrEP, PEP, and all of that. So you will not even want to think about condom. Do you understand? Because you're already very weak. And this is the thing for the guys too. A guy that is very high, right? You see that even if they put on condom, you see the part where you have to ejaculate is when you go faster as a guy. So if there is a breakage occurrence, the girl cannot even notice it because she's too high. So she will not even know the difference. The guy too might not notice it. That's why you find two people who had intimacy and condom broke, they will not even know until, when
I don't clear
like the next morning. Do you understand? Some girls do not. And you see when a guy releases inside of a girl, she immediately wants to take postmortem, postinol, right? Instead of wanting to take, PEP and stuff like that. So these are the things that, young people need to stop, because they always like to take, tramadol and stuff like that. Now, I never did drugs, but I was someone who was smoking and then, doing alcohol. And I thought that alcohol helps me to knock better. But at the end of the day, I got to discover that it even makes you weaker. Because at the end of the day, you don't even reach ejaculation before you are tired. Do you understand? So the way I will deliver my poly unit when I am not high is more, effective. Do you understand?
Yeah, so
that's just it.
So alcohol actually inhibits you, and it allows for, instead of vasodilation, it allows for vasoconstriction. So, and a lot of men, confuse these things. That is why alcohol is actually against your performance in bed.
Exactly.
So because what makes you have and achieve hardness or tumescence or erection is your heart pumping, because it's a pump. It's a hydraulic. It's like a balloon. So imagine that you're blowing into a balloon. The air that you're blowing is blood. The balloon itself is the tissue of the penis, right? And your mouth, right, that is blowing the air is the heart. That's literally how the penis works and hardness works. So the thing is that alcohol reduces the flow of that air, right? So it reduces the balloon. So that is why I wonder why men think that taking more alcohol makes them perform better. It doesn't. It actually reduces your power. It's counterintuitive in this. Most times they spice it up with drugs, right? They put Viagra, they put certain pills into them, those blue pills into them. That is what makes them think that it makes it work. Meanwhile, it doesn't. And I would say this again, that, and maybe we'll have another time to really talk about sexual performance in men, but most times performance is more here than there.
Performance is more here
than there.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. I
No.
can agree to that, because a lot of men that come to the to clinics to say, okay, I want to do tests to know why I'm having erectile dysfunction. If you ask them, the number one cause is psychological.
Yes, the
Like
number
Dr.
two
Wale,
cause is
psychological.
diabetes.
Yes. psychological. If you ask, is there any change, any drop in your business, any, family pressure or quarrel with your wife? Most times the answer is yes. By the time they do their testosterone is fine, but because the problem is here.
You just talked about diabetes now.
Yes.
Let me borrow that the freestyle. You say, talk to them. Please, can you talk to them about this visceral fat? There was this tweet I saw. One girl was saying, men keep, shaming women and saying their shape, their tummies. And most men, when they pull their clothes,
Me
and you know that
husband
thing,
material did like this.
That thing gives you. Husband material is tall now. There are people that their legs are slim.
Yeah.
Their tummy is just like this. Their nyash is flat.
Okay.
I mean, because every time they keep shaming women and saying women's tummy, women say see her belly, be like say she get belly.
Okay, so the
person that says see her belly. If you see him belly,
I call Tommy.
I'm releasing a video in a couple of days that says that, if you have a pot belly at 40, it's not a sign of good living.
Thank you.
It's going to be coming out soon, probably next week or something. But the most important thing men have to know is that as you age, your metabolism slows down. Also, metabolism is basically how your body processes stuff and breaks down stuff. So as you are aging, your body slows down that process. As a man, like right now, for some, like it's easy. Once you take maybe a bottle of soda or something, your body metabolizes it quickly. You've used it. But then as you are growing old, it starts to slow it down. And then that slowdown begins to transform it into fat, visceral fat that it drops in all these places like that. But then the dangerous part of it is that it puts you at risk of, chronic diseases like
diabetes,
hypertension, atherosclerosis, and, diabetes that we begin to talk of. And then that is why you see that most times in situations like that, men begin to complain about, in fact, the reason why many men come down to the hospital and then they are able to get successful diagnosis of either heart disease or heart disease or diabetes is because of erectile dysfunction. Yes. Because that's the first dashboard light, engine lights, check engine lights that we get. Right? So, but we always advise men that don't wait until that time. Go first, check all these things. And in my own practice, I've seen that most of the men that come to me that have problems with, I remember there was one time I was at an outreach and I was speaking to this particular he was a young man, basically in his mid-30s. And he said that if he's been finding it difficult to perform in bed and he just noticed that, so that's why he laces his drinks with blue pills and things like that so that he can get a hard on. And he now mentioned something that was very funny, but at the same time he couldn't place the two together, and it was the most baffling thing I'd ever seen. He said that he has a wound on his leg that has refused to heal.
Hey!
That is a classic diabetes symptom. A classic diabetic symptom. I told him that, do they have diabetes? Do they have sugar problem in your family? He said yes. I said, go and check your sugar level.
Oh my God.
And come back and let me know.
And there's this video of one man too that was saying that the boys at the gym, they don't have money. If you see this man I'm talking to you about, he's 4 times my size. And he was saying that the gym bros are very poor. Gym bros are this, gym bros are that. It's money that is the main thing. And that's the reason these same men still complain that the men in the gym are taking their wives.
Now, speaking about money,
you're not getting yourself to the gym. You're complaining that as you're aging, you're having erectile dysfunction. Then you're not getting to the gym so that you can be active and you're able to satisfy your woman at home. But you're complaining that the boys at the gym are helping you.
Justice for the boys.
You see, but that thing goes two ways.
No, that the phrase.
The pot-bellied men are collecting the wives of the gym bros, while the gym bros are collecting the wives of the pot-bellied men.
So you think it's some kind of equilibrium?
So the pot-bellied men that are collecting the wives of the gym bros, the wives of the gym bros are not going to them for sexual satisfaction. They are going to them for financial satisfaction, which I can also argue when you say that gym bros don't have money. Do you know how much a crate of egg costs? Do you know how many eggs me as a gym girl I have to eat every day?
You know,
I eat a minimum.
cost.
I eat a minimum. Oh, forget
Okay, so
subscription.
okay.
I eat a minimum of 6 eggs if I'm not eating eggs.
We're going to
Chicken
check
breast.
your cholesterol
Yeah,
afterwards.
check your
Chicken,
cholesterol.
I mean, I have my body
Okay, so
composition.
most
I
times,
can show it
most
to you.
times,
Because I run every day.
Oh,
I
good.
take 10,000 steps every day.
That's good.
Do you understand?
Oh, please don't put a figure to it. So I would say this, like, no, 10,000 shouldn't be like a necessary healthy figure. Anything
What do you
above,
consider a necessary healthy figure?
anything above 5,000
5,000,
steps, you are
yeah.
good, right? In a day, you are good. So really, don't
but
press yourself.
But because
too hard.
of the stuff that
6
I eat,
eggs.
I eat eggs.
Please
I
check your
eat
cholesterol
chicken,
level,
I
your
check them.
Torello.
I mean, I have my.
No, don't use phone to check.
Don't use phone.
Don't
No,
use phone to check. I'm
I'm
serious.
showing you. I'm
Okay,
saying
like
it's
you-
in my
you've done-
phone.
like
I have
you've
the
done the
statistics
test, like you
in
have
my
the-
phone.
okay,
Do you
okay.
understand? I mean,
Wonderful,
I mean, come on now. If I
Thumbs up for you.
so, but what I'm saying is, men should also like get active because most of the time we push it to women. Men, they have testosterone. If I'm in the gym with husband material will do less of what I do and he will get more results because my level of testosterone, please correct me if I'm wrong, my level of testosterone and his own are not the same. So the muscles
they are
and
not.
everything, the build will manifest first on him before me. So why are men not going to the gym? And you are shaming the gym bro saying that they're okay, we're getting somewhere, we're saying financially stable because of what what Daddy Freeze said. Ronaldo is a very rich footballer. He trains almost every day of his life.
How many Ronaldo in Nigeria?
Tony Elumelu is a businessman in Nigeria.
Mike
that we know.
Adenuga is richer.
We're not talking of who is richer here. We're not talking of who is
your
richer.
point is well
If you are
taken.
making a case for that,
Yes.
then it's funny.
I would
but
say
what
that-
I'm
I
saying
would
is
say
that
that
there's no
regardless of-
excuse.
Healthy lifestyle,
Healthy
very important.
lifestyle.
I would
Yes.
say
And
that
don't
very
blame the
important.
boys.
Honestly
no,
speaking,
I-
both men and women have a duty to stay healthy,
Yes.
to protect themselves, to eat well, to exercise regularly. Whether you're a man or a woman, there's no excuse not to exercise
Thank you. That was just
regularly.
what I was going
You know, late night food should be minimized as much as possible because most times you say that most people that are obese or overweight are people that eat late at night. And you know, after eating, you just go to bed. You know, calorie in, calorie out. You don't burn the calories. So you just get them in and you go and rest afterwards. It accumulates. And because beer tastes bitter, people think alcohol does not contain sugar.
Sugar.
It's converted when it gets into the body. And those are some of the things that actually predisposes to truncal obesity and eventually DM and several other medical conditions. So everybody has a duty to eat healthy, do your checkup, take lots of fruits, take lots of vegetables. And it's just very important
Live
to
in
know your
moderate-
numbers.
yeah, and
Especially
live in
men,
moderation.
so that you don't know.
Doctors.
Wow.
Yeah, know your numbers with them
Doctors.
today.
Can I have quiet in the house?
Yes.
Doctors.
We can.
Everything in Nigeria has been industrialized.
Okay.
From church to school to gym. Do you need gym to be healthy?
You don't need.
It's
So
not
I would
tough.
say this.
I agree with him.
Yeah, I would say
if you
this.
lack personal discipline,
Yes,
though,
I would say this.
you will
that
need a gym.
I would say this that an active and a physically health, right? A healthy lifestyle does not begin and end in the gym.
It
Right.
ends in the kitchen.
It starts
Begins
with your
and ends.
diet.
Yeah.
If you are, in fact, let's just say where it starts with discipline. If you are the type of person that eats anything, number one, you eat like a hooligan, as if food is running away. Every time when you go out, you order, you order for swallow that is as big as my head, and you just want to eat without control. There is nothing like portion control for you. Less of vegetables and all of that things, and you consume sodas, you consume all of that. Definitely your body will start screaming after a few years. You'll be 20 years old, but then you'll have the skin of a 40-year-old, 50-year-old person. Yeah, like absolutely. So diet is something, right? So it's very and then also the second part is lifestyle. Like how do you live your lifestyle? Are you the kind of person that you take alcohol at every time being? It predisposes. These things are modifiable risk factors that put you at risk of certain things. So when you are somebody that takes alcohol, it won't happen today. It won't happen probably in the next 10 years, but 20 years down the line, everything begins to show. You start seeing that, you're having truncal obesity. You start noticing that you're becoming overweight. You start noticing that you are huffing and puffing by the time you climb 10 stairs. Yes, that's
Or
actually
even sitting down.
Yes, that is already a sign that your heart is failing, and your heart is
lifestyle.
failing to keep up with the, with the weight that is your body, that is everything that the processes going on in your body. So these things say a lot, right? And then there is now fitness. So, and fitness is not gym. It is not. Yes, gym promotes fitness, but then fitness is not 100% gym. No, not absolutely that. You can be fit and not even see the gym. You can be fit, you can work out, you can do your planks, you can do everything at home. You can be physically disciplined to see yourself routinely at home, do your workouts at home. Like taking walks a day is good workout. Sex is good workout.
For people that are trying to burn.
No, it's not for people that are trying to just burn. I'm saying that sex.
No, I'm saying for people that are trying to burn calories now.
Sex is enjoyable cardio.
Sex is exercise.
It's enjoyable cardio.
Do you understand? It makes for good cardio.
Daily.
Consistent, healthy, not when you go overboard, and when it's done healthily, like because
which style is healthy?
No, healthily, like in a healthy relationship, like not recklessly. That's like what I'm saying. So then, activity, being physically active. There are some people, in fact, their furniture moves more than them.
Try.
Like literally, if you are a type of person that you hardly move, you are sitting in the car, you are sitting when you get to the office, you are sitting when you get back home, and you are Netflix and chilling. Why are you? Furniture is moving better than your car moves better than some people. So physically move. The idea of going to the gym is when you get there, you don't sit down on the you move now. You have to run on the treadmill. You have to push. It's your body moving. So it is the physical activity that is the proper definition when you go to the gym.
But doctor, let's remove the gym from this and say fitness. Maybe it's because we are saying gym. Your gym could be your home.
Yes.
And you need some certain type of activities to be able to build muscles. I'm not a doctor, but from the things that I've read about muscles, as you age, you lose muscle mass. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, you do.
It means you now have to start consciously trying to build muscle mass for yourself. So you have some as you're aging, right?
Well, okay, so the muscle mass is not also a criteria for fitness. And that I must say, because you have to ensure that you have to take certain things into consideration. Why are you building muscle mass? There's for some people build it for strength. Like there's a purpose to it, because you can't say
But does muscle atrophy make you weaker as you age and more susceptible to fractures?
Yes, it does.
Good. That means you also need some resistance training and some lifting.
What you need is toning. What you actually
How do you tone?
You tone through physical activity,
which is strength training.
Yes,
and resistance. Weightlifting.
Yes,
you know that people try to. What Daddy Freeze was trying to do is to remove that, say, gym bro going to the gym lifting.
We are not saying. We are not saying.
You need some sort of.
You also don't need, because let me tell you.
What Daddy Freeze is saying is that
Daddy Freeze, if you are not lifting and you're 90. And I'm lifting and I'm 90, the difference between me and you will be clear.
The question is
very
you
clear.
Also need to understand.
Please, doctor. No, we have a doctor here. Please, doctor, help me be sincere. If I am lifting, I am 90. You are not lifting. You are just doing your normal walks, and just there. No. And you're 90. Who looks better?
No.
Yes. Apart from even aesthetics, who feels better?
90
runners, 90 cyclists,
or
90 footballers,
yes, now
Formula 1 drivers don't lift.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
So that was just let me tell you this.
Let me say this. Who told you that drivers are heavier?
Formula 1 cyclists,
Formula 1 drivers,
professional cyclists.
They are working their muscles, their legs.
That's what you're saying now. They don't lift, but they're healthier.
Come back to what I said. The idea of fitness is physical activity and movement.
Yeah.
If the person that is weighing, that is pushing and carrying weights at 90, right, compares himself with somebody at 90 that is also physically active and mobile, they will be the same thing. They are definitely going to be the same thing. It is not defined. It is not defined.
You're arguing with you,
It is not defined by muscle mass.
You're working your body now. That's what they are saying.
If I'm
Healthy
building
longevity is not determined by muscle mass.
Thank
It
you.
is not defined. It is defined by
Yes.
physical activity and mobility.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what I was going to
That is
say.
why, for instance, footballers are they built with muscles?
Yeah, most of them are.
No.
Not all of them are muscular.
What is muscle? They
You
are
have to
lean
be able
muscles.
to
Wait,
run.
relax.
No.
They are lean. No, that
Hold
is
on.
wait
Athletes,
now. Wait
okay, sorry.
now.
Do you think
they are lean
cyclists,
muscles?
do you
They
think
are lean-
athletes are not fit?
No, they are fit. What I'm saying
Marathon
is,
runners.
no,
Do
you
what I'm
think
saying is
marathon
you
runners,
can't.
like
No,
marathon
what I'm
runners, are
saying
not
is you
fit?
can't say if I'm walking every day and walking is the only exercise I do to keep
That
fit.
is very good cardio.
No, I'm not.
He says
saying- it's
physical
cardio.
activity.
No, wait
Hold
now.
on.
You guys are not.
No, I'm
hearing
telling
me.
you that it's
Now
physical
don't call it, they
activity.
follow argue like this.
Wait now, relax.
too
Oh,
much.
okay. I won't say
Oh,
anything.
no, no,
else.
that boy
I won't say
selling
anything.
gala in
Relax,
traffic.
relax,
Running
guys. You're
after
not.
cars
No,
with gala on his
no,
head.
you're not
Yes.
understanding me.
Okay, I want
You're
to-
not understanding
okay.
me. Maybe I'm in
Ask
the
your
wrong room.
question.
What I'm
Ask your
saying
question.
is, for people that are in the gym
Yes.
that are lifting,
Yes.
that also lift and sprint or lift and walk, they are doing cardio and they're also doing lifting as well. Do you understand? I don't know why we're arguing.
Yes, it's good exercise.
I don't know why
we
we're
agree.
arguing.
But
Do
you
you
know that
understand?
some other people may not be able to go to that extent, but they do something else
But
and they are still
so what
physically
are you saying?
active.
So sorry, what I need you guys to, sorry, I'm lay. I'm not a medical doctor, but I mean, these are things.
You're
These are
enlightened.
wait
You're
now.
enlightened. Go
I'm not a
ahead.
medical doctor, but these are things that I have seen happen to people or have also happened to me, as I'm in the process, I'm asking, are you saying to me that people who do cardio and resistance training and people who do just cardio are on the same level of fitness?
I want to say something before
Sorry,
so that they
please
can
let
give
them
an
answer me.
opinion.
No, please let them answer me,
Okay.
please.
Uh-huh.
Are you
Alright.
saying,
Okay,
sir
maybe
and
you
ma,
go first.
that
Yeah,
people
go
who
first
do
then I'll-
cardio and lifting and people who just do cardio are on the same level of fitness?
Okay, they are not on the same level, but the difference is not so much. This is what I would say. If you can do both cardio, do the lifting, do all the additional ones, go ahead and do it. If you cannot, do what works for you. The aim is to move your body, be physically active, and to be healthy. For some, what will keep them healthy, what will keep them fit, will be doing 5,000, 6,000 steps a day, and they are consistent at it. If I do planks, I do weightlifting once a week, it's not very effective. If I'm able to do something else 3-4 times a week, do you understand? So if you are able to, you have the physical stamina to do it, please go ahead and do it. Don't go overboard. But if you are not able to do it, still you can monitor with your phone, you can monitor with your wristwatch, smartwatches, check your step. iPhone is also, there are some features that will tell you, oh, you're burning more calories now than you were last week. You could do those things to monitor. But if you have the physical stamina to do more, please do more. But don't go overboard with it. The aim is to stay healthy. The aim is to move your body and be physically fit and active.
Yeah, so what we are talking about is, for some talk about it for stamina and for aesthetic views, like how you want to look at a certain age, right? But when it comes to healthy longevity, what is required is fitness at the level, right? When you talk of you can be working out, doing strength training, being fit, building muscle, but you have terrible diet. And I can tell you that your cholesterol levels could be off the charts. Yeah, you can look good. You can be aesthetically curved and with all the six packs and all that, but you could be terrible when they look at your vitals. It's very possible. It's very possible. There are some people that are going to the gym today. If you look at their diet and what they eat, they are not really eating healthily. They are just eating to build muscle mass. And even that eating to build muscle mass, they are doing certain things that they shouldn't really be doing.
Yeah.
So that is why I would say that the purpose, when we talk about healthy longevity, we are talking about, healthy fitness. How are you fit? And a couple of things are taken into consideration: lifestyle, diet, then what you do, physical activity, like your life, like movement, all those things like that. Going to the gym, it is for movement, to keep your body mobile and moving and toned and fit. It is not until you strength train, you pull, that you carry weights, you do all those, heavy lifting and build like muscle mass, that you are now fully considered fit. It's not. The essence of going to the gym is for you to move, because like I said, you are not a furniture. You are to move, to keep your body mobile, to ensure that your muscles are toned, blood is flowing, your heart is pumping in the in the right manner and in the at the right rate, and to keep your body active. That is the reason why you go to the gym. So it's not just to building muscles is a good thing for strength training, but that is not the core reason why you go to the gym.
You know, the question I asked first was the industrialization and commercialization of the gym. This young man is not educated, but he's learned. He has spoken about HIV in such a way that we've all been spellbound. But in the core terms of education, he just has secondary school. Church is not spirituality. Going to a church is not. You could be spiritual from your home. Same thing with education, school, church, religion, and the gym. Now, for building muscle, I have certain questions, because your most important muscle when it comes to longevity is the muscle that protects your femur. Because the worst type of accidents are when you break your femur after 60. So strength training in your arms is useful, but your thighs, if I understand correctly, especially with your metabolism, because that's where you burn the most sugar in your really big muscles. So my question is, there was a day I was walking around my house, went to ShopRite, came back, and I did 6,000 steps without even attempting to. So I want us to explain this part, because this part can be a bit confusing for people. Yes, it is good to go to the gym, but if you don't go to the gym, it doesn't make you bad. Because I see a lot of people that look down on people that don't go to the gym and say, oh, they are unfit. I don't know, Best is very fit, but he doesn't go to the gym. you know.
Are you sure Best is very fit?
So I think the doctors have answered the question. Physical activity.
Now, where I want us to take this to is sexual fitness, because a lot of people are going into the substance, what is it called, to be sexually fit. Doctors, especially starting with my lovely sister here, how can you be sexually fit? Very important. Sexual fitness. Is it more diet? Is it more gym? Is it more macronutrients and micronutrients? So you don't have to start taking these bitters. I know someone who said if you take bitters, you perform better. There was a time I tried the bitters. It did not work. So how do you become more sexually fit so as to stay away from the...
Okay, looking back at our previous discussion.
And you were speaking about Molly at a point. You wanted to say something about Molly.
Okay, no. Okay. I just mentioned it in passing.
Okay.
But looking at our previous discussion, the number one cause of erectile dysfunction is psychological causes. So the first thing you should do in order to have a healthy sexual life or to be sexually active is to have a good mentality. You take away stress, you manage stress. Then being physically active has its role and it's important. Eating healthy is also very important. Taking lots of fruits and vegetables, very crucial. If you're on multivitamins, there are multivitamins for men above 40, men above 50, and they are carefully curated to contain the necessary vitamins. But even if you don't take multivitamins, if you're eating healthy with lots of fruits and vegetables, it will still work fine. But if you are not physically active, if you engage in sedentary lifestyle, you take excess alcohol, the person will not be physically active sexually.
Interesting. So, I mean, we have maximized the presence of our doctors. We know say HIV we they discuss, but as we get to doctors now, say if you pay for consultancy, if you talk say my back is paining me, if you throw in your leg enter. But as we take it home, let us talk about treatment. Orthodox and herbal treatments. Direct question. Can herbs cure HIV?
No, Est. No.
But we have people parading on Instagram, on TikTok, declaring that they have the right combination.
They should bring the CD4 counts. They should bring the viral load after documented with only Agbo use after 1 year. And if they bring it to me, I will promote that agbo by myself.
Now, this is another thing, yeah. You know, when you came, I asked you, is there any herbal doctor among? Because I was ready for them, to be very honest, and I wish one was here. Now, this is the thing about herbal, right? Because there's one lousy. I have to sound disrespectful. I'm so sorry because I'm very upset because I know how much herbal has destroyed a lot of people living with HIV and made life even more terrible for them. So there's this one lousy doctor that claims that he has cure to 80% of the diseases that are in existence right now. Right? And then I have one question. The first question I was going to tell him was that he should bring one person that he has given his herbal cure to 10 years ago that is still negative till now. But then he can actually forge.
Absolutely.
He can actually forge that and, pay somebody to come and, say that they are. Because I don't know why people who have been cured for HIV cannot come out and talk by themselves. Because not a single person has come out. Now, for that herbal, this thing, all I have to do to manage HIV is take one pill. Right? But if you ask any herbal doctor to give you the cure of the HIV they are talking about, they'll bring up to like 8 substances, different things that you have to be taking every single day. So my question to the person, I'm not going to call his name, but the one that Egungu interviewed and I went to what's this guy's name? Something touch nuts, whatever. There's one guy that interviewed him also. So to that particular doctor, right? I want him to be the one to, because every good scientist and every good doctor that I know that came up with a cure for something use themselves, right, to particleize whatever they are saying. Let him infect himself with HIV, right? Let us be sure that he's infected and then take his cures for the next 1 year and let him cure himself instead of putting other people at risk.
I love this.
Because he made a video about me one time. In fact, I don't want to call his name because I don't want to promote him in any way. So he made a video about me one time. I said I should come and use his cure and I refused. And this man was dragging me, saying that I like the fact I have HIV because I'm making money from it. And that sounded so very annoying to me because I'm even suffering more coming out to say I have HIV than how I was living before. Mm-hmm. So I would want him to use himself instead of using anybody because he keeps on saying that he wants, the health, whatever, to bring 50 HIV people to him and then he will cure them by himself. So I want him to use himself as a good scientist that is really interested in bringing cure to HIV, use himself to cure himself. And then, he will now come out and start saying he has a cure because there's no cure for HIV, right? There's no cure. HIV is a global and universal pandemic. So if there's going to be a cure, it has to be something that is globally and universally endorsed to be a cure or pronounced to be a cure. If not, just continue your ART. Continue your ART because, people feel like, this is not good enough, but this is very, very good and very potent. So there's no cure for HIV. All those herbal concussions, they don't work. They don't work. They'll put you more at risk than you ever imagine. So please start your medication and stay on it. There'll be a cure very soon. And until then, please continue your HIV medication.
Doctor, sorry.
No, let the doctors respond.
Okay.
He has responded. Let the doctors also.
I agree that herbal concussion has no place in treatment of HIV. There's something
No place at all.
No place. There's something called HIV-associated nephropathy. However, HIV on its own, if not properly treated, can worsen, can negatively affect the kidneys. So, herbal concussions also with elements that you don't even know what is there, nephrotoxic, very harmful to the kidneys, elements in it. You are combining to, it's like adding fuel to fire. It would quickly worsen the situation. So it has no place in the management and treatment of HIV. Anybody that's saying that, and before drugs are released, they go through research, they go through phases of research, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, to the last phase before it now comes out. So anyone that is saying they have a cure, they should tell us at phase 1, how many people did you cure? At phase 2, what were the side effects? What was the feedback from the, let's see.
That was a peer review.
Yes, let's see.
And you know why it's more dangerous, please? Because this herbal is very, is everywhere. People using it and putting themselves more at risk. Now, HIV, like I said initially, HIV manifests in different people, different ways. So let's say a particular herbal doctor studied one person, studied how HIV is for that one person, and mistakenly comes up with a cure. You cannot administer that cure to the next person because HIV does not work the same way in the other person. And that's the problem. And then you see, the truth is, again, I talked about false positive. Imagine somebody does HIV tests and is false positive and out of panic looking for a quick cure. And they come to you, you give them your medication without even doing tests for them to be sure that they are positive. Because somebody will just call you and tell you that they want cure. And then you send it to whatever state they are in. You're not checking their result. You're not even confirming if they are positive. And then you're giving them things to drink. And these things are up to 250,000 naira, 300,000 naira. There's one of the package that particular lousy doctor is selling for almost $1 million naira. And that is really, really wrong. Yes, $1 million naira.
Pick this guy for crying out loud.
Naira. He's doing
NAFDAC,
it.
Please, can we look in? I don't know why you're not mentioning this guy's name.
The comedian name is Untouchable. Untouchable invited him. His name is I want to remember it. Is it Save a Life something? He's not, that guy is not real, please. He does not have a cure to HIV. There is no herbal cure to HIV. Stay on your medication, please. Please.
Another thing again that people try to... Now, first of all, I do not have a grouse with using local remedies in treatment. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, there are some mainstays. I think it's just very important to create some balance to this. For instance, if somebody has iron deficiency, you can blend ugu and it will help you to boost your blood back. Mm-hmm. Yes, it works. But then it's important to understand that this whole thing that that people say that one herb can do several things all at once, that's the first sign. Yes, once you see anything that is Bobo Niche in character, that is, it can do everything all at once, that is the first sign for you to run away. That's the first sign for you to know that it is fake. Anything that says that it will cure HIV, syphilis, meningococcal, staphylococcus infection, and everything all together with cancer and fibroid all together in one, please throw it away. You can throw it into the toilet. You are not supposed to drink it and put it in your body. Reason being that many of these things, when people use them, when they take them, they don't just contain like maybe the bark of leaves and all that. They also contain steroid medications. Some of them have been discovered to have steroid medications. That is, they took like real medication, paracetamol and other kind of drugs. They blended it and they put it inside. Right? They put that inside. There are also heavy metals have also been discovered into them. I mean, the lead, mercury, nickel, things like that. All inside them. They are all inside. And you know what? The funny thing is that they will now tell you that when you start peeing a lot, right? Oh, if you are even seeing blood, that if you see blood in your pee, it's flushing everything out. This is the absolute truth. This is how they sell these things, that they will tell you that, oh, you'll be peeing a lot. Oh, that the moment you are peeing a lot, it means that the drug is working. Meanwhile, the patient starts peeing, their pee turns a different color. Maybe it becomes green or it becomes red or purple or something. And then they are like, oh, it's working. Keep using it like that. And that is how all of a sudden they can't pee again. They come to the hospital as a means of last resort. The kidneys are already gone. Down. The patient dies in the hospital. They blame the hospital. That is the hospital.
Yeah, that he was doing very well with.
He was doing very well with the agbo. But it is, meanwhile, not knowing that this is the resultant effects of the abuse of nephrotoxic agbo, nephrotoxic herbal concoctions that destroyed the person's kidney to the point where the hospital orthodox medicine could do nothing
to save it. And hepatotoxic too.
Yes. So I think
sorry, before you go somewhere, wait on this matter.
Taking it home.
We are not taking anything to any home. I will allow you, my darling. It's very important along this line. Don't be angry.
No, I'm not.
There was a certain doctor. Why it is very important in the 90s called Dr. Abalaka.
Dr. Jeremiah Abalaka.
I love you for having deep knowledge in many subjects. I don't know if you're aware of Dr.
Yes,
Abalaka.
I've heard of him too.
Oh, wow. You are a walking encyclopedia anyway. Dr. Abalaka.
What in Gen Z doing for this life?
No, the story.
You know if you understand. Let me go. Let me cook. Now, Dr. Abalaka infected himself with the HIV virus because he claimed in the 90s that he had a cure for HIV. Why I love Dr. Abalaka is the fact that he was ready to make himself a test subject, a guinea pig in his own treatment.
Exactly.
My question is, where is Dr. Abalaka today? Is there any truth Have you done any investigation on Dr. Abalaka?
Okay, so,
And I want to hear from you and from the medical sector as well.
okay, so the reason why he's quiet is because the result that he was expecting did not come up. That's why he's quiet. Do you understand?
But with the result from which people? The big pharma.
from his
Wait now,
expensive.
because he also
From
claimed
his own experiments.
From his
no,
experiment.
he
his own
also
experiment.
claimed that it's a battle that you cannot win. You have these big pharmaceutical companies and the West, because they have invested so much in antiretroviral drugs and they are making money from it. Everything you say, they will say is a lie. Because immediately he came out, I can remember growing up in Nigeria, it was in 1999 when he first made that claim. It was our own Ministry of Health that said he was lying. And his argument was that you have not conducted any test. You just say I'm lying. And the argument he put forward at that time was because our Ministry of Health benefits from grants and aids from these international organizations, and they don't want anything that would affect that. I just said to put this, just put this one out there, because he said that you are the one that is testing it. You are the one that will come out and say it does not work, because you know that if the result is, if it shows that the result is efficient, you would lose the money that you get from that. I just said to put this one out there so that there's a balance.
Sorry, please. You know that's me. If I'm not convinced, I will come back.
As we take it home.
Yes.
Yes.
Please, are we, because doctors, from what you people said to me, it means that that's what I see, that you people just say, okay, do it from where you are. However, okay, just take walks if you cannot lift. Sorry, Daddy Freeze, I'm very passionate about fitness, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Are we, well, please, guys, don't interrupt me, I beg you. Because the last time I didn't drive home my point because I couldn't really drive home my point. So are we saying that for optimal aging, you don't need some amount of muscles? Because we watered it down and we said, oh, these people, F1 drivers, they don't lift. So how, because I was on my phone, honestly, and I was searching, and there are sources that have also claimed that for optimal, to be more, to age, you can age healthy, but then that's why I kept asking, what's the difference between, we already know that it starts in the kitchen. So, but for somebody that kitchen checked, walk checked, then kitchen checked, walk checked, lifting, no matter how small, you need muscles, even if the muscles are lean muscles. Are we preaching the barest minimum, just walk so you can age, or are you preaching age optimally?
Okay, so let me.
Because a lot of people watch this and they'll say, I argue too much, you are dumb, you are this, you are that.
Let me clarify. So, like I mentioned, and I remember that I still emphasize that the essence of fitness is movement. The reason why you even do strength training, because the reason why you build muscle or tone your muscles is movement. It is the movement that has...
For stamina as well.
Yes. It is the movement. Like when you are working out, what happens is that you have like some micro trauma on your muscles that now come back and replace, like it gets replaced back. It is not a bad thing to work out. It is not at all. It helps you to build resilience. It allows you, it builds your immune system and things like that. But then what we are talking of is the over focus on muscle building rather than the whole goal of fitness in itself. That's exactly what we are. And I've really tried to ensure that people understand that the reason why they are going into the gym, yes, good. It's good to build muscle and build resilience. But then when it comes to proper aging, the goals is for movement. Your heart is moving, your muscles are moving, your body is moving, your skeleton is moving, your joints are moving. It is the movement that promotes wellness. It is the movement that promotes longevity. It is the movement that promotes wellness, right? So that is the goal. So the goal, yes, muscle is good. It's good. It will make you look good. Your muscles will also be toned. When you work out, your muscles are toned, right? There is less muscle atrophy. Or like there's less muscle atrophy. Everything is well toned, because if you notice, people who have been amputated, right? And there is no motion, and they've been amputated on this arm, and they are not using the arm.
They work out these days.
It's called
atrophy.
Disuse atrophy. So you have disuse atrophy, and the reason why disuse atrophy happens is because there's no movement. That's what happens there. The reason it's dying off is because it's not moving. It is not toned. Nobody is massaging it. Nothing is happening in that area. So disuse atrophy. So it atrophies because of the fact that it's no longer useful. So the goal, again, like I would say, for exercise and workout is movement. It is movement, the ability to move your body. So that is why there are different regimens, there are different types of activities you need to perform, because it promotes promotion. Like, for instance, when you do squats, you're talking about your quads, you're working out your quads. Like, there are different types of exercises that you need to perform. But let people not get carried away. Yes, it's good to tone your muscles, but don't get carried away that is the overarching goal of going to the gym. The overarching goal is movement, and that movement promotes fitness.
And that movement you don't need in the gym then.
Okay,
you don't necessarily
because I can squat at home.
Let me say it. You don't necessarily need it in the gym. But sometimes, if you are not disciplined enough, being in the community and in a space of people where you can work out helps you to build your own discipline and stay fit.
And that will help me to counter that difference, because the difference talked about commercialization of the gym and as to commercialization of most things.
So if you agree with me on that,
I get you.
Wait now, if you need to pay to belong to a community
that promotes keeps you
your
movement.
Discipline.
Yes, and promotes your discipline.
It's okay to
I don't think it's,
you know that when you see other people doing exercise,
I want us to talk about the negatives.
So you draw motivation from them. When other people are doing the same exercise, you're motivated to keep at it and to continue.
Absolutely.
So
I want us to, before you go, let me just end here before we go here.
Okay.
I want us to talk about some of the disadvantages of the gym that are never told to people.
Okay.
On this episode,
let me say it, Oha, because you have already. Yes, sometimes you can get injured at the gym.
Yes,
hernias are very common. One of the most common, and most times they feel that maybe it's a muscle that is popping out somewhere. Meanwhile, it's a hernia, and you can herniate to a point where you actually require surgery. So it could rupture. It could
strangulate.
Yes, then we don't always talk about the injuries that also occur, because some people muscle tears.
Sprains.
Some people they get they can even get fractures.
But those
because
come
they are
from
trying
ego lifting.
to yes,
those come from ego lifting.
Yes, because most times people are trying to overreach.
Yes,
it is the overreaching. So that is why we always preach. That's why you always see.
And you know that
preach.
people also overwork, overcardio.
That is why we always
it's easier to overdo weightlifting than to overdo cardio.
Yes.
So really, it's just about.
I know someone who has a family history of arthritis.
And he went to do.
And he'd been running in the gym, doing a lot of gym. He burnt out his joints faster than he would have, because when he went abroad, what they told him was, you overdid the gym. Now your joints are really messed up.
What was he doing?
Weightlifting, climbing those elliptical machines, all those things.
So was it an arthroplasty that he had?
Yes.
Okay, so
that's when you do what you're not supposed to do in the gym.
No. The gym trainer.
It's not just that.
Is it a doctor? Is the gym trainer a physician?
Is knowing your body. Yeah. Right, and I remember that she rightly mentioned, like, when you understand your family history, you understand. Look, one of the things people don't understand is genetics loads your trigger. Like, it loads the trigger. Like, if this is a gun, for instance, genetics loads the trigger, but it's your lifestyle that fires the gun.
That's it.
So somebody like him, right, like this particular person, won't have burnt out his knees if he didn't go put himself in that line of that. So understanding the arrow that your village people have from your line is also very, very important. Right? I can't know that I have a family history of diabetes, and then I'm putting myself at risk, drinking anything that I want to do, eating like a hooligan as if food is running away, drinking anything that I want. It's just like you are opening the doors and saying that, you know what, I'm ready, guys. Like, I'm ready to shoot the gun right now. So that is why it's also very important. Know your family history. You see your parents having hypertension, or like you see that your grandfather had a stroke, your father and your mother currently have hypertension, and then you are not working out, you're not fit, you are overweight. What's going on? You are inviting hypertension directly into your life, and it's going to come anytime soon. So all of these things are very important. These contexts are very important, and they are individual. So when people go to the gym, it is also very important that you don't, her own goals are different from my own goals. And this is some of the problem that trainers also have, because they want to use the same
trainers that are not trained.
No,
they want to use the same
yardstick for
this
everybody.
thing that you are going
Template.
to
But
is
there are trainers that are trained. There are trainers that go
before you
undergo
go to the
training
gym.
too.
What tests did you do? What if you have a prolapsed disc and you are jumping in the gym?
Actually, they are supposed to ask
Like,
you
she's
those
just doing
questions.
everything to just say, oh
Very
yeah,
true,
so yeah,
very
you
true.
should stay at home.
Very
Don't go
true.
to the
Our
gym.
doctors-
Stay at home. Don't go to the gym, please.
So this is what
It's
we're going
already
to do.
crowded.
Parting
Safe. We
words,
don't need
parting
more
words
people.
from our
I love you,
doctors, and
And you are
also
very
from
intelligent,
Chika,
by the way.
as
Don't
we
let
take it
anybody
to.
say any
In your,
nonsense.
in your parting words, can you please help me include the false negative that we forgot to discuss?
Okay, so
Okay.
when you
Start
go for
with, can you
test,
start with that?
yes, when you go for test, it's possible to be falsely negative. Like I said, it depends on the quality of place where you also do your test results. There are a lot of roadside labs, so it's important to go to a reputable place, where your results will be second checked before it is released to you. That's one of the things we do at clinics. So it's be second checked before it's released to you. And there's a place of being indeterminate also. For HIV, hepatitis B or C, the person can be indeterminate. That's the person is in the middle. It's not a negative result. It's not a positive result. People that are newly infected could have that kind of result. People that have hepatitis, the acute hepatitis B, and is being resolved, can also have something like that. So when it's indeterminate, that means it's inconclusive result. They tell you to come back after 3 months so that you repeat the test again. Right. So then, like I said, false positive, like we already explained, can also happen. So most important, but if you do a regular check, even if there was a false positive or a false negative, you can pick it on the next checkup that you're going to do. Now, before registering for gym, it's important to have a good check on the heart. The heart is the pump of the whole body, and everything revolves around it, both the heart and the brain. So you need to have a good heart check. Your cholesterol plays a very big role here. Have your cholesterol check done. There's something called stress ECG. Stress ECG, you'll be on the treadmill with electrodes attached to your chest, and they'll check whether blood is actually flowing well to the heart.
Footballers use that a lot.
Yes, they do that. It's part of the fitness test for footballers. So you do that before you register to the gym and you eat that treadmill. So those are some of the basic tests. Heart check, the resting ECG, the stress ECG, your cholesterol check. Those are basic things. Now, if you're having a nagging knee pain, you should have it checked. Know whether it's arthritis you have, or those are some of the things that will guide the kind of exercise that you'll be doing when you register at the gym.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wale. Before Chika Wonder.
Okay, so I think what I just want to say is when it comes to HIV itself as a condition, it is something that is well managed in today's day and age. It is not a death sentence, and we can get those reflections directly from the amazing story of Chika right here with us.
Brilliant.
Yes. So one of the most important things that we can take out from here is that it's not a death sentence. You can pick yourself back up. The disease, in fact, the management of HIV in today's day and age is better than some other viral illnesses of similar conditions today. So, and you can get to a point where it is low risk. And if you have a partner who is HIV positive, so long as they are regular on their medications, there is zero risk, like almost zero risk of transmission. The reason why the risk still exists to a certain percent is just the fact that they might not adhere to their medications for a while. Then it can come back. The viral load can increase. But otherwise, if they are faithful to their medications and taking it on time, there's near zero risk of transmitting the disease. And it's very important for us to understand that if I'm sitting beside someone who is HIV positive, it doesn't mean that I'm going to get the disease. If I hug him, it doesn't mean I'll get the disease. If you kiss someone, it doesn't mean that you get the disease. Even if you have sex with them, as long as they are in the U and U phase, that is the undetectable, untransmissible. If they are in that phase, you will not not get the infection. The same thing, they can eat from the same plate with you. They can drink from the same cup with you. They can even, of course, it's not healthy, but they can share the same toothbrush with you, honestly. And that's the way I'm putting it. In this, of course, it's not healthy to share your toothbrush with anyone, of course, but then it is that non-transmissible. In fact, it is easier to transmit the flu than HIV. There are more diseases. You can transmit meningitis easier than HIV. Hepatitis, you can transmit it easier than HIV. So it's very important for us to really destigmatize ourselves to get to that point where HIV, what are the yeses, what are the nos? HIV, somebody bleeds and the person is HIV positive right now. In the next 1 minute, that blood is no longer
HIV.
It's no longer HIV positive. Like, it's not useful. Nothing can happen. Nobody can be infected from there. So it's very important to have. But if that is hepatitis B, for instance, that can stay for 2 weeks. So all of this context is very important for us to understand the disease itself, how people can transmit it, and also know that we should build a supportive community. If, for instance, as Chika is a photographer, he can't infect anybody. He can't. He can do the job that anyone can do, right? So he can literally do anything. And it's very important for us to remember that these people should not, especially when it comes to jobs that require skill. More of mental skill and
creativity.
Yes, and you know very well that these people are, and you know that people living with these conditions are managing and taking their therapy well. Please ensure that you are including them. Let's be more inclusive to them. Let's ensure that we are near them. Let's not neglect them. It is the neglect that creates a vicious cycle that promotes unhealthy behaviors, that even makes them it makes the case worsen and break down into conditions like AIDS and puts them at risk. Also, it puts their life at risk as well. Nobody is beyond mistake. There is no perfect society. We ourselves are not perfect. People can get HIV as a result of things that are not of their own circumstance. They are beyond circumstances that they can control. So we need to create an all-inclusive community for people like that. And that in itself will reflect a society that is more forgiving, more inclusive, and promote the social wellness of everybody.
All right, Chika Wonder.
Okay, so first of all, I just also wanted to, touch more on the fitness. Your ARVs is not just the only thing you need. You need to also eat effectively. That's how you can get the full effectiveness of this amazing medication here. And then you also have to work out, right? You also have to work out and, do right. Now, for a lot of people, they tend to feel like HIV is equal to failure. Because you have HIV does not mean that you're a failure. HIV do not take anything about you. Right? He doesn't take away your beauty, your creativity, your talent. You are still the amazing person that you are. So all you just have to start to do is, start your medication and stay on your medication if you're a person living with HIV. And, do not start stigmatizing yourself or putting yourself down. HIV is very manageable, right? You don't need any herbal. You don't need to go to any church. I mean, what you need is your medication. Yes, it's good to have a relationship with God, and it's good for you to have your mind transformed. But please focus on your medication no matter the circumstances. Whether you are depressed, take your medication. You're happy, take your medication. You are, excited, take your medication. No matter how you're feeling, your medication is like what you should always concentrate on. And, also change how you see yourself. One of the things I had to do for myself was to change the meaning of HIV. To me, HIV means human immunodeficiency virus. But to me, HIV means having incredible values. So when you call me HIV man, you only remind me of the values I have as a human being and not as the virus. So I'm not a virus carrier. I'm also a value carrier. So remind yourself that you are better than how the society have tagged you, because the main issue is the stigma, not the virus. So if we can conquer the stigma, HIV is the easiest thing to actually win over. And since you're on your medication, guess what? You've conquered it already.
As we take it home, I would love to thank you, Chika.
Thank you so much.
From my study of political and religious history, there are only two ways to sell a movement. You either kill for it or die for it. You can see Christ died before Christianity was able to be established. Sadly, you are dying not of HIV, but for HIV.
Yeah.
You are going through the stigmatization, the rejection. You go, imagine going to a swimming pool and jumping inside and everybody coming out. Meanwhile, nothing can, even with hepatitis self cannot catch you inside swimming pool.
No, he says it happened.
He said it
It happened.
It's on my video, yeah.
I was just saying it. Even the hepatitis that is more contagious cannot catch you inside chlorinated water.
Yeah.
But you see, you are going to have to take that blow for that young man to be able to live. That 14-year-old, that 21-year-old who was just diagnosed, who is afraid to come out because of the stigma. If you are ready to die for this movement,
Very ready.
you will help, because the way you have said it now, if anybody watching this video who knows someone with HIV will go and hug them just because of the way you spoke about it. So Chika, God bless you.
Thank you.
I love what you have, and I want you to continue with that fire.
Thank you very much.
High five. Forever.
So guys, on TikTok, Undetectable Chika.
Yes.
Undetectable Chika. On Instagram, Chika Wonder. Our community, Mona go show am love.
Thank
I'm
you
talking
so
about love. If you want to send money, 190 plus countries, 40 plus denominations, ONT Pay is the best way to show love.
Wallahi.
Rather than send money, I'll be telling the person, I've sent it. You come, they shout, your voice they go up. Use ONT Pay. It's smooth. It's seamless. There are no issues at all. Importantly, if you want to buy your gadgets, your appliances, CD care. If you see the care they show to their customers, you will be moved. Stay at home. Don't stress yourself. They will not add a single naira. They will go and get it for you and buy. They will give them. Then importantly, they have a platform a plan that allows you pay in installments, small. At the midpoint, they'll carry and come. So with CD care, there are no issues whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, remember our community. Show love to Chika.
Thank you.
When I don't see, say, school. It's important to go school. Oh. You don't hear from Dr. Akindasa. You don't hear from Dr. Ogunlano. You see, say, he dead body, he show. And you know, say, on the Honest Bunch podcast, now, impactful conversations. We don't do that. Talk nonsense. No, we don't do that. Because we know that you would learn. And it's very, very important because it adds value to you. Once again, congratulations to the Honest Bunch podcast. Congratulations to me, male podcaster of the year.
That's it.
Okay.
Rub it in.
God, I know. God, I give only you the glory. It's God. Thank you very much. So thank you for your support. Keep showing up Mondays at 6 p.m. Keep supporting us. Remember, something big is coming. Live show. A round of applause for all our guests. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.